There is a forest older than memory, and its trees are made of thought. Its roots reach deep into the soil of what you call reality, and its leaves whisper the truths you have long forgotten. The ancients knew of this place. They did not call it a mind, they called it a sacred grove. And they understood that to walk amongst its ancient trees was to walk within the deepest parts of oneself. You can feel it, can you not? A subtle hum beneath the noise of your world, a sense of displacement, a feeling that you are a stranger in your own life. You have been told this is stress, anxiety, the price of modern living. But what if it is something else entirely? What if that persistent ache, that quiet exhaustion, is not a burden, but an invitation, a summons, a calling from that ancient grove, a whisper from the wild, untamed country of your own soul, asking you to come home? Listen, turn away from the clamor for just a moment. Hear the silence that exists beneath it all. In that silence, a path reveals itself. This is the path we will walk together. This is not a lecture or a sermon filled with rules to be memorized. This is a pilgrimage, a journey inward, to a place that has been waiting for you. We will not seek answers from the frantic world outside, but from the deep, resonant wisdom that already lives within you. The wisdom of the land, the sea, and the sky. The wisdom spoken in the rustle of leaves and the patient silence of stone. This journey is about remembering the language you knew before words. Remembering the strength that is not built, but discovered. We will walk into the heart of your own forest, not to conquer it, but to listen to it. To learn its seasons, to understand its shadows, and to finally feel the unshakable power that grows, not from wishful thinking, but from the very root of your own being. The door is open. Take a breath and step inside. Let us begin by walking to the edge of your known world. For your entire life, you have likely been told that your mind is a thing to be controlled, a mechanism to be optimized, a computer perhaps. You are told to debug its errors, to upgrade its software, to silence its notifications. When it runs slow, you are told to defragment its memories. When it produces thoughts you do not like, you are told there is a glitch in the code, a ghost in the machine. This metaphor, the mind as a machine, has been the source of great striving and of great suffering. It implies that you are the operator, separate from the machine itself. It creates a dynamic of struggle, of wrestling with a foreign object that you must force into submission. It is a cold, lifeless image, and it is fundamentally untrue. It is time to let it go. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, allow that image of gears and wires to dissolve. We are going to replace it with a truth that is far older, more vital, and infinitely more compassionate. Your mind is not a machine. Your mind is a forest, an ancient, living, breathing ecosystem. It is your own private, sacred grove. It is not something to be fixed, but something to be tended. Not a thing to be conquered, but a landscape to be understood. When you see your mind as a forest, everything changes. The pressure to perform, to be perfect, to eliminate every flaw, simply falls away. You would not demand a forest to have only perfectly straight trees, would you? You would not command it to cease its winters or forbid its rains. You would accept that its wildness is the very source of its beauty and its strength. The same is true for the grove within you. Let us walk into it now, together. The first thing you might notice are the trees, the great towering presences that form the canopy of your world. These are your core beliefs, the foundational truths upon which your reality is built. Some were planted so long ago in the fertile soil of your childhood that you do not even remember a time before them. Look at them. Are they great oaks of self-worth, their branches reaching confidently for the sun, providing shade and shelter for all the life beneath them? Do they stand tall with the conviction that you are worthy, that you are safe, that you are capable? Or do you find other kinds of trees here? Twisted, gnarled hawthorns of self-doubt, their spiky branches tangled together, blocking the light, scratching at you whenever you pass too close. Perhaps there are weeping willows of old sorrows, their leaves forever damp with unshed tears, their roots drinking from a hidden stream of grief. Do not rush to cut them down. For now, our task is simply to see them, to acknowledge their presence without judgment, to name them. This is the tree of I am not good enough. This one, the tree of I must always be strong. And this one, the ancient, powerful trunk of I am alone. They are a part of your landscape. They have a story. They have a right to be here. For now. Now, lower your gaze to the forest floor. See the undergrowth. This is the relentless chatter of your daily thoughts. The constant stream of anxieties, plans, commentaries, and criticisms. For many, this undergrowth is a dense, impenetrable thicket of brambles and nettles. It snags your ankles. It tears at your peace. It makes any movement through your own forest a difficult and painful ordeal. This is the racing mind, the monkey mind, jumping from branch to branch, never still. It is the weeds of comparison, the creeping ivy of resentment, the poison mushrooms of fear that sprout after a rain of uncertainty. Again, the instinct is to fight it, to take a scythe and slash wildly at it all. But you cannot win a war against your own mind. The act of fighting is just another frantic movement, another branch shaking. The way of the grove is different. It is to introduce light. It is to gently pull one weed at a time, not with anger, but with awareness. Notice too the pathways. Through the undergrowth, there are paths. These are your habits, your patterns, your neural pathways. Some are broad, well-trodden highways. These are your automatic reactions. The path you take to anger when you feel criticized. The familiar, worn-down trail to anxiety when faced with the unknown. The deeply grooved track to seeking distraction when discomfort arises. You can walk these paths with your eyes closed. Your feet know every turn, but look closer. Off to the side, almost hidden by ferns, are other paths. Faint trails, barely visible. The path of pausing before you react. The path of curiosity instead of fear. The path of self-compassion instead of criticism. They are overgrown from disuse. They may seem difficult to take, but they are there. They lead to new parts of your forest you have never seen. They lead to sunlit clearings. Every forest has clearings. These are the moments of stillness, of peace, of pure being. Moments when the canopy of thought parts and the unfiltered light of awareness shines down. It is the aha moment of sudden insight, the feeling of deep connection when you look at a sunset, the profound silence after a heartfelt cry. These clearings are sacred. They are the spaces where new things can grow. It is in these clearings that you can consciously plant new seeds. A seed of gratitude, a seed of a new belief, a seed that says, I am capable of change. A seed that whispers, I can trust myself. The forest floor may be crowded elsewhere, but here, in the clearing, a new seed has a chance to catch the sun. And what of the weather in your grove? The emotional climate is ever-changing. There are the sudden, violent thunderstorms of rage, where lightning flashes and the whole world trembles. There are the long, gray, drizzling weeks of melancholy. There are the harsh, silent winters of depression, where everything seems frozen, dormant, lifeless. And there are the glorious spring days of joy, when the air is fresh and new blossoms of hope appear on every branch. The old way, the way of the machine, is to see this weather as a problem to be solved, to demand sunshine on a day that is meant for rain. The way of the forest is to understand that all weather is necessary. The storm clears the air and fells dead branches. The rain nourishes the roots. The quiet of winter allows for deep rest and restoration. The sun coaxes forth new life. Your work is not to control the weather of your soul, but to learn how to build a good shelter, to know when to take cover, when to dance in the rain, and when to bask in the sun. You are the tender of this grove. You are its guardian, its keeper. You are not a victim of its landscape, nor are you its tyrant king. You are its partner. Your awareness is the sunlight. Your compassion is the water. Your intention is the seed. You cannot make a seed grow overnight, and you cannot fell a century-old tree of belief in a single afternoon. The work is patient, it is gentle, it is constant. It begins not with doing, but with seeing. So for now, simply be here. Stand at the edge of your inner forest and look. What is the climate today? What trees dominate the skyline? How dense is the undergrowth? Where are the well-trodden paths leading you? And can you spot in the distance a small clearing waiting for a new seed? To know this landscape is the first, most crucial step. To walk through it without fear and without judgment is the great work of a lifetime. Before you can understand what the wind is whispering through the leaves, you must first learn to simply stand and feel it on your skin. You must become familiar with the territory. For in recognizing that your mind is a living, sacred grove, you have already taken the first step out of the cold, mechanical world of struggle and into the vibrant, living world of grace. From this recognition, we can now begin to learn its deepest language, the language that existed long before thought itself, the language of silence. You have walked to the edge of your inner grove and acknowledged its living, breathing reality. Now, we must learn its native tongue. Before your forest learned the language of thought, of words, of judgment, it spoke in a different dialect. It is the mother tongue of the universe itself. The first language. This language is silence. In your world, silence is a vacuum to be filled. It is an awkward pause in a conversation, an empty space on the radio, a moment of anxiety when the engine of distraction finally cuts out. You rush to fill it with music, with podcasts, with chatter, with the endless scrolling that keeps the deep quiet at bay. Why? Because the noise has become your shield. It is a buffer between you and the unfiltered truth of your own being. The noise is a constant, frantic activity that prevents you from having to feel what is truly there. But the Druid, the wise tender of the grove, understands that silence is not an absence. It is not a void. It is a presence. It is the single most potent force in the cosmos. Silence is the canvas upon which the masterpiece of creation is painted. It is the dark, fertile soil from which every idea, every impulse, every sound is born. To fear silence is to fear the very source of yourself. Let us redefine it. Silence is not the opposite of sound. It is the container of sound. Think of your forest. The deep, resonant quiet of the grove is not empty. It is filled with the potential for sound. It is so profoundly still that the snap of a single twig underfoot becomes an event. The call of a distant bird becomes a message. The rustle of a leaf becomes a symphony. Without the backdrop of silence, all these sounds would be lost in a meaningless cacophony. The noise of your world is that cacophony. It has deafened you. The practice of listening to silence is the act of restoring your hearing, not with your ears, but with the whole of your soul. We will enter this practice through 3 gates. Do not strive, do not force. This is not an exercise in control. It is an act of surrender. It is a gentle allowing. The first gate is external silence. Find a place where you can be relatively still. Close your eyes if it feels right. The first instinct is to try and block out all the sounds of your environment, to fight them. Let go of this struggle. Instead, simply allow the sounds to be there. Acknowledge them without judgment. The hum of the refrigerator, the distant siren, the creak of the floorboards, let them come and go like clouds in the sky. Now, shift your attention. Instead of focusing on the sounds themselves, begin to notice the space between them. Notice the pause after the car has passed and before the bird begins to sing. Notice the gap between the hum of the machine and the sound of your own breath. This is the entry point. The silence is already here, holding everything. It is the ocean, and the sounds are merely waves on its surface. Rest in this space between the waves. Feel its texture. It is not empty, it is peaceful. It is a vast, calm field of awareness. Stay here for a while. Let your attention gently rest on the silence that cradles every noise. You are not creating it. You are simply noticing what has been here all along. Now, we move deeper, to the second gate, the silence of the body. Bring your awareness inside. Your body is an instrument of constant rhythm and flow. The most obvious is your breath. You can hear it, feel it, but we are not listening for the sound. We are listening for the silence. Follow a single breath as it enters your body. Feel it, fill your lungs, rising to a gentle peak. And right there, at the very top of the inhale, before the exhale begins, there is a point of perfect stillness, a turnaround point. It may last only an instant, but it is a moment of pure equilibrium. Dwell in that stillness. Then, follow the breath as it leaves your body. Feel the release, the letting go. And at the very bottom of the exhale, before the next breath arises, there is another point of stillness, a quiet valley. This is the other pole of the rhythm. The world is born in the space between the inhale and the exhale. By placing your attention on these 2 points of stillness, you are connecting with the deep, tidal rhythm of life itself, beyond the agitation of the surface. You can do the same with your heartbeat. Feel it in your chest or your wrist, the familiar, steady thump-thump, but again, do not focus on the beat. Focus on the immeasurable pause between one beat and the next. In that silent interval, your entire life force is gathered before it is expressed again. That silence is the source of the beat. It is the wellspring of your vitality. Rest in it. Feel the deep, calm, silent power that pulses at the very center of your physical being. Now, we approach the third and most profound gate, the silence of the mind. This is the silent sky behind the clouds of thought. This is where the old paradigm of struggle is most tempting. You have been told to clear your mind, to stop your thoughts. This is a fool's errand. Telling your mind not to think is like telling your heart not to beat. It will only create more tension, more noise. The way of the grove is acceptance. Sit and watch the thoughts arise. Do not engage with them. Do not follow them down their familiar pathways. Simply observe them as you would observe clouds drifting across the sky. Here comes a cloud of worry. Watch it form, float by, and dissolve. Here comes a cloud of memory. Watch it drift past. Here comes a list of things to do. Acknowledge it and let it go. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. Your identity is not the thought. It is the vast, silent, and limitless awareness in which the thought appears. As you practice this, you will begin to notice gaps between the thoughts. At first, they may be fleeting, just a microsecond, but in that gap, you will find it. The true silence. The silence of your own consciousness. It is a silence that is not empty, but full. It is full of peace. It is full of potential. It is your true nature. This is the silence the ancient Druids sought in the heart of the forest. It was not an escape from the world. It was a deep dive into its very essence. In this profound inner quiet, you begin to truly hear. You hear the voice of intuition, which is not a voice of words, but a clear, unmistakable feeling of yes or no. You receive flashes of insight, creative solutions to problems that your thinking mind could not solve. You feel a deep and abiding connection to the web of life, a sense of belonging that no amount of social validation can provide. This silence is the source of Owen, the flowing spirit of inspiration. It is the oracle that resides not on a distant mountain, but in the quiet temple of your own heart. To listen to silence is to recalibrate your entire being to the frequency of truth. You are unlearning the frantic language of the ego and remembering the calm, steady grammar of the soul. Practice this. Make a friend of silence. Invite it into your day. In the car, turn off the radio for a few minutes. While you wait for the kettle to boil, listen to the space between sounds. Before you sleep, Listen to the stillness between your heartbeats. You do not need a special cushion or a remote monastery. The gateway to the first language is always with you. From this place of profound, attentive stillness, our perception of the world begins to change. When the inner noise subsides, the outer world reveals its deeper structure, its essential nature. From the heart of this silence, we can begin to clearly perceive the three great sacred realms of existence, the fundamental energies that the Celtic mystics knew shaped all of reality. We are now attuned, ready to feel the solid certainty of the land, the flowing currents of the sea, and the infinite, open expanse of the sky, not as external concepts, but as living realities within our very own being. From the profound, attentive stillness you have cultivated, a new kind of perception arises. The world, both inside and out, begins to reveal its underlying structure. The Celtic mystics, the Druids who listened to the language of silence, did not see a world of random, disconnected things. They perceived a cosmos woven from three sacred interacting threads, three realms that are not separate places, but interlocking dimensions of a single, unified reality. These realms are the land, the sea, and the sky. This is the foundational map of consciousness, and it is a map of you. You are not a single, monolithic entity. You are a sovereign territory, a complete world unto yourself, and you contain within you the qualities of all three realms. To understand this is to hold the key to inner balance, to a life of grounded presence, emotional fluency, and spiritual inspiration. Imagine yourself as an island rising from the deep. This island is your being. The land is your foundation. The sea is the water that surrounds and flows through you, and the sky is the boundless space that holds you. A healthy life is not lived in just one of these realms, but in the dynamic, sacred dance between all three. Let us explore your inner geography. First, let us walk upon the land, Antalam. This is the realm of substance, of form, of stability. It is the earth beneath your feet, the solid rock, the patient mountains, the ancient trees with their deep roots. It is the realm of your ancestors, the physical lineage that came before you. It is the wisdom of what is tangible, what is real, what endures. Within you, the land is your body. It is the solid, reassuring fact of your physical presence. Feel it now. Feel the weight of your body in the chair, on the floor. Feel the unshakable support of the earth beneath you, holding you without question or condition. Become aware of the architecture of your bones, the strong, silent framework that gives you structure. The land is your anchor in the present moment. It is the home you can always return to when the storms of life threaten to carry you away. When your connection to the land is weak, you feel ungrounded. You are lost in the clouds of thought, plagued by anxiety, disconnected from your own life. You live in your head, forgetting you have a body, a home. You are like a leaf blown about by every passing wind. Conversely, one can have too much land. This is the state of being rigid, stubborn, and stuck. It is a life bogged down in materialism, where only what can be seen and touched is considered real. You become resistant to change, fearful of the unknown, like a stone that refuses to be moved. Your life becomes heavy, dense, and devoid of magic. The practice of honoring the land is simple. It is the practice of embodiment. Walk barefoot on the grass. Pay attention to the sensations of eating your food. Stretch your body, not as a mechanical exercise, but as a sacred rite of inhabiting your vessel. Place your hand on a great tree and feel its slow, solid life force. The land teaches us stability, patience, and the power of being right here, right now. It is the foundation upon which everything else must be built. From the solid shores of your island, we now turn our gaze to the waters, the sea, and Muir. This is the realm of flow, of change, of cycles and mystery. It is the vast, deep ocean, the winding river, the gentle rain. The sea is never the same from one moment to the next. It is moved by the unseen pull of the moon, its tides in a constant, rhythmic dance of ebb and flow. Its surface can be calm as glass or a tempest of violent waves, but its depths hold a profound, mysterious stillness and creatures of unimaginable form. Within you, the sea is the world of your emotions. It is your subconscious mind, your dreams, your intuition. Your emotions, like the sea, are not meant to be controlled. They are meant to be navigated. To deny the sea within you is to create an inner desert. This is the state of being emotionally repressed, overly rational, cut off from the wisdom of your feelings. You may appear strong and controlled, but inside you are brittle, dry, and starved of the life-giving waters of vulnerability and connection. Your intuition whispers, but you cannot hear it. On the other hand, to be lost in the sea is to be drowning. This is the state of being overwhelmed by every emotional current, tossed about by moods, swept away by drama. You have no anchor, no shore. You mistake the turbulent surface of your feelings for the entirety of who you are, forgetting the solid land beneath and the clear sky above. To honor the sea is to learn to be a skilled sailor on your own emotional waters. It is to give yourself permission to feel everything without judgment. When sadness comes, let it wash through you like a gentle tide, cleansing the shore. When anger surges, learn to feel its power without letting it capsize your vessel. The practice is to float, to witness the waves of feeling rise and fall, knowing that you are the vast ocean itself, not merely the temporary wave. Listen to your intuition, that deep current that pulls you toward what is true. Value your dreams. The sea teaches us fluidity, acceptance, and the wisdom of the deep hidden currents of the soul. Finally, we lift our eyes to the third realm, the sky, air. This is the realm of air, of breath, of light, and boundless space. It is the wind that carries the seeds of new life. It is the vast, open expanse that holds the sun, the moon, and the infinite map of the stars. It is the realm of vision, of thought, of communication, of inspiration. The sky is limitless potential. It is the realm of what could be. Within you, the sky is your spirit. It is your intellect, your will, your consciousness. It is the part of you that can witness your thoughts, that can dream of a better future, that can conceive of art and poetry and music. It is the source of insight, the home of Owen, the divine flowing breath. A life with too little sky is a life without hope. It is a heavy, claustrophobic existence, lived under a low, gray ceiling of cynicism and despair. You feel trapped, with no sense of purpose, no vision for your life. Inspiration is a foreign concept. Conversely, a life of too much sky is a life untethered from reality. You are the dreamer who never acts, the intellectual who rationalizes away every feeling. Your head is full of brilliant, abstract ideas, but your feet never touch the ground. You are a kite with a broken string, drifting aimlessly, disconnected from the grounding reality of land and the emotional wisdom of sea. To honor the sky is to give yourself permission to dream. It is to cultivate stillness in order to receive inspiration. The practice is to breathe consciously, to feel the air, the sky, entering your body, filling you with life and possibility. It is to look at the stars and feel a sense of wonder, to allow your mind to expand beyond the narrow confines of your daily problems. Create something, write a line of poetry, hum a new melody, ask big questions. The sky teaches us perspective, hope, and the power of a focused, inspired will. True wisdom lies in the dance between the three. You are the island. You need the solid earth of your body and the present moment, land. You need the life-giving, cleansing waters of your emotions and intuition, sea. And you need the open, inspirational breath of your spirit and your vision, sky. When you feel overwhelmed by emotion, lost at sea, the practice is to ground yourself, Feel your feet on the floor. Come back to the land. When you feel stuck and rigid buried in land, the practice is to look up, breathe, connect with a sense of possibility, open up to the sky. When you are lost in abstract thought, adrift in the sky, the practice is to feel. Check in with your body. What are the waters of your emotional sea telling you? This constant, conscious balancing of the three realms within you is the great art of living. It is the foundation of Druidic practice. It is how you become a whole and integrated human being. And it is this very integration, this inner harmony of land, sea, and sky, that creates the perfect, sacred vessel. A channel, clear and open, ready to receive and express the pure, creative life force of the cosmos. When your roots are deep in the land, your heart is open to the sea, and your mind is clear as the sky, you invite the flowing breath of the universe to move through you. You invite Owen. You now stand in the center of your own sacred island, having acknowledged the land beneath your feet, the sea within your heart, and the sky above your head. With these three realms in balance, you have become a resonant chamber, an instrument tuned to the frequency of the cosmos. Now, you are ready to receive. You are ready to call forth the flowing spirit, the fire in the head, the divine essence that the ancient bards and druids knew by its most sacred name, Owen. What is Owen? The word is often translated as inspiration, but this is like describing the sun as merely a light bulb. Owen is the unstoppable creative life force of the universe itself. It is the electrical charge in the summer air before a storm. It is the intelligence that guides the salmon on its impossible journey upstream. It is the fierce, green fire that pushes a shoot of grass through a crack in the pavement. It is the sudden, heart-stopping beauty in a line of poetry, the shiver down your spine from a perfect chord of music, the flash of insight that solves a problem you have wrestled with for weeks. It is not a human invention. It is the universe speaking, singing, and creating through any channel that is open enough to receive its transmission. You do not create Owen. You cannot force it, you cannot manufacture it, and you cannot own it. The attempt to do so is the surest way to silence its voice. Your task, your sacred duty, is to become a worthy vessel. Think of yourself as a hollow reed, a flute lying in the grass. The flute does not compose the music. Its only purpose is to be so clean, so open, so true to its own form that when the wind of Owen chooses to blow through it, the music that emerges is pure and clear. Your entire spiritual journey is this process of clearing your flute. But what are the blockages? What is the dust and debris that clogs your inner instrument, muffling the divine melody? The first blockage is the fine, gray dust of doubt. It is the insidious whisper that says, "I am not creative. I am not an artist. I have nothing important to say. Who am I to be a channel for anything divine?" This dust settles in every corner of your being, dulling your shine, making you believe that inspiration is for a select, talented few. This is a profound lie. Owen does not discriminate. It seeks expression through every living thing. To breathe is to be creative. The second blockage is the thick, sticky mud of fear. The fear of what others will think. The fear of being judged, of being ridiculed for what you create or what you feel. The fear of failure, of not being good enough, and perhaps most potently, the fear of your own power. You fear that if you truly opened the channel, the force of Owen would be too much to handle, a torrent that would sweep away the small, safe life you have constructed. So you keep the channel narrow, allowing only a trickle of inspiration to pass through, keeping yourself safe and small. The third blockage is the collection of hard, smooth stones of cynicism. These are the pebbles of the over-rational mind, the part of you that dismisses intuition as fantasy and wonder as childishness. It demands evidence. It requires logic. It scoffs at mystery. The cynical mind cannot be a channel for Owen, because Owen speaks the language of symbol, of feeling, of metaphor. It bypasses the analytical brain and speaks directly to the soul. To be open to Owen is to be willing to say, "I don't know," and to stand in awe before the great mystery of existence. So how do we clear the flute? How do we open ourselves to this flowing spirit? You do not begin by striving for a great creative act. You begin by returning to the source. You go to the forest. You sit by the sea. You watch the sky. The natural world is the purest, most constant broadcast of Owen. Observe the effortless, relentless creativity. A spider weaving its web needs no applause. A tree putting forth its leaves in spring seeks no validation. They are simply doing what they are. They are perfect, open channels. By immersing yourself in nature, you attune your own energy field to this frequency of pure, unself-conscious creation. You remember that you, too, are a part of this process. Next, you engage in small acts of creation for their own sake, with absolute devotion to the process and zero attachment to the outcome. This is the key. Doodle in a notebook without trying to draw something good. Hum a tune while you walk, without trying to compose a song. Arrange pebbles on your windowsill. Cook a meal with your full, loving attention. These small acts are a form of active prayer. They send a signal to the universe that says, "I am open. I am willing to play. I am ready to be a channel." When you release the pressure of the result, you remove the fear of failure, and the dust of doubt begins to clear. Owen flows into the space created by joyful, purposeless play. Most importantly, you must live authentically. Owen cannot flow through a lie. It cannot move through the masks you wear to please others, or the roles you play that are not true to your heart. Every time you speak a truth you have been holding back, you clear the channel. Every time you honor a genuine feeling, instead of repressing it, you clear the channel. Every time you follow a thread of genuine curiosity, no matter how strange or impractical it seems, you are following the call of Owen. Your authentic self is the unique shape of your flute. To deny that shape is to make it impossible for your unique music to be played. You will know when it is flowing. It is a feeling of timelessness, when the hours pass like minutes. It is a sense of effortlessness, when words or ideas arrive fully formed, as if gifted to you. It is a surge of energy, a feeling of being vibrantly alive and aligned with your purpose. It is a deep, quiet joy that needs no external cause. This is the flow state, and it is the subjective experience of Owen moving through you. It is your birthright. This path of opening, of clearing your vessel, is a beautiful and lifelong practice. You can sweep out the dust of doubt and wash away the mud of fear. You can learn to set aside the stones of cynicism. But as you do this work, you may find that the channel is not just clogged with simple debris. You may find that there is a great boulder lodged deep inside, a piece of solidified pain, a mass of disowned darkness that you have spent your entire life trying to ignore, to build around, to pretend is not there. You will realize that the light of Owen, as it tries to shine through you, is casting a great and powerful shadow from this very stone. And you will understand, with a new and sober clarity, that to become a truly open channel, you can no longer turn away. You must turn toward the darkness. You must face the shadow of the oak. You have opened yourself to the flowing spirit of Owen, that divine breath that seeks to move through you. You have worked to clear your channel, to become a more perfect flute for its music. But as the light of that inspiration grows brighter within you, you cannot help but notice that it also casts a longer, darker shadow. The instinct, the conditioning of a lifetime, is to turn away from this shadow, to ignore it, to deny it, to pretend it does not exist. You may think that the spiritual path is a journey only into the light. This is the greatest misunderstanding. The path to wholeness is a path that goes directly through the heart of the darkness. To become a being of true substance, you must turn and face the shadow of the oak. Look at the most magnificent oak tree in the forest. It is tall, its branches spread wide, its leaves thick and vibrant. It is a testament to strength and life. And because of its very substance, its very grandeur, it casts a vast and profound shadow upon the earth. The shadow is not a flaw in the oak. It is the evidence of its existence. It is the direct result of the tree's relationship with the sun. A spindly sapling casts a meager shadow. A great oak casts a mighty one. Your own shadow is not a sign of your brokenness. It is the measure of your potential depth, your substance, your light. What is this shadow? It is not a demonic entity, not an evil force to be vanquished. The shadow is, quite simply, all the parts of yourself that you have learned to disown. It is the collection of natural human impulses that, at some point in your life, you were taught were unacceptable. It is your anger, your wildness, your vulnerability, your fear, your envy, your unfiltered passion. As a child, you were a whole and complete being. When you expressed your righteous anger, perhaps you were punished. You learned, anger is bad. I must not be angry. And so you took that vital, powerful part of yourself and you pushed it down into the cellar of your psyche. When you expressed your boundless, chaotic joy, perhaps you were told to be quiet, to settle down. You learned, my wildness is too much. And so another piece of your authentic self was relegated to the darkness. We have all done this. We have crafted a careful, acceptable personality part of us that is allowed to live in the sunlight while exiling the messy, inconvenient, powerful parts of our true nature to the shadows. The result is a life lived in halves, a constant, low-grade civil war within our own soul. An unacknowledged shadow does not simply disappear. It festers. It projects itself outward onto the world. The things that infuriate you most in other people are often the perfect mirror of a quality you have denied in yourself. The arrogance you despise in a coworker may be a reflection of your own disowned confidence. The laziness you judge in a family member could be the cry of your own exhausted soul, desperate for the rest you refuse to grant it. The world becomes a haunted house, filled with the ghosts of your own unlived life. The unseen shadow also erupts. It is the sudden, inexplicable rage that explodes over a minor incident. It is the self-sabotaging act that destroys the very thing you want most. It is the addictive behavior you cannot seem to control. This is not a monster. This is your own exiled energy, starved and desperate, rattling the bars of its cage, demanding to be seen. It controls you precisely because you pretend you are not it. The journey into the shadow is the bravest part of the spiritual path. But you do not have to go with fear. We will go with compassion, with curiosity, and with the steady light of awareness. You are not descending into a pit of evil. You are simply walking into your own sacred grove at midnight, to meet the parts of yourself you have left alone in the dark for too long. The first step is to simply acknowledge that the shadow exists. To accept the premise, there are parts of me that I have hidden. This admission alone is an act of profound courage. It stops the war. The second step is to become a gentle observer of your own reactions. The next time you feel a surge of intense judgment toward another person, pause. Do not condemn yourself for the judgment. Simply ask, with genuine curiosity, what is this person showing me about myself? Is there a tiny, forgotten seed of this same quality within me, which I have been terrified to acknowledge? This is not about blame. It is about reclaiming your projections, taking back your own power from the world. The third step is to learn to listen to the messengers from the shadow. Your most difficult emotions, anxiety, jealousy, shame, rage, not your enemies. They are envoys from your exiled self, knocking on the door of your conscious mind. The old habit is to slam the door, lock it, and turn up the music of distraction. The new way is to crack the door open, to breathe, and to ask the emotion, what are you here to tell me? What part of me is feeling unseen? What need is not being met? Perhaps the anxiety is your inner child's fear of abandonment. Perhaps the jealousy is a signal of your own unfulfilled desire. By listening, you begin a dialogue. You begin the process of integration. For here is the great sacred secret of the shadow. It holds your gold. The alchemists of old knew that the process of turning lead into gold required the prima materia, the dark, chaotic, raw stuff of creation. Your shadow is your prima materia. You have exiled your greatest treasures because you were afraid of their power. The work is to descend into the darkness, not to destroy, but to retrieve. In the cellar of your repressed anger, you will find the gold of your personal boundaries, the fierce energy to protect what is sacred to you, the power to say a clear and unwavering no. In the dungeon of your disowned fear, you will find the gold of your intuition, the sensitive awareness that alerts you to true danger, the wisdom to be prudent. In the tomb of your buried grief, you will find the gold of your compassion, your capacity for deep connection, your ability to love with an open, vulnerable heart. The goal is not to unleash your raw anger upon the world. It is to reclaim its energy, to bring that leaden rage up from the cellar into the light of your conscious mind, and through the alchemy of awareness, transform it into the pure gold of a centered, powerful boundary. You do not become a wild beast. You become a whole human. You are no longer just the sunlit leaves of the oak, but the entire tree. The strong trunk, the vibrant leaves, the vast shadow, and the deep, unseen roots that draw nourishment from the dark earth. You are no longer at war. You are at peace. By embracing your shadow, you do something miraculous. You begin to collapse the world of duality. You see that light and dark, good and bad, are not warring opposites, but inseparable partners in the dance of creation. Your compassion for your own darkness blossoms into compassion for the darkness in others. Your judgment softens, your heart opens. You stop seeing the world in stark black and white and begin to perceive the infinite, subtle shades of what is. You are now prepared to see reality not through the lens of your own harsh judgments, but as it truly is, a mystery to be beheld. You are ready to look upon the uncarved stone. Having journeyed into your own darkness and begun the sacred work of reclaiming your shadow, you emerge with a new kind of sight. The hard lines between good and bad, light and dark within yourself have begun to soften. You are becoming whole. This newfound wholeness now allows you to perceive the outer world with the same compassionate, non-judgmental eyes. You are ready to look past the surface of things and see the essential nature that lies beneath. You are ready to behold the world as the ancient sages did, as the uncarved stone. Before the first word was ever spoken, the world simply was. It existed in a state of pure, undivided, and unnamed presence, a state of isness. The wind moved, the water flowed, the rock stood firm. There was no beautiful sunset. There was only the raw, sensory experience of color and light shifting in the sky. There was no frightening storm, only the presence of loud sound, bright flashes, and the feeling of moving air. This primordial state of reality, whole and complete before the mind dissects it, is the uncarved stone. It is the world in its truth. Then the human mind arrived, a tool of magnificent power, designed for survival. And to survive, it needed to categorize. It needed to name. It needed to carve. It pointed at the tall green thing and carved the word tree onto it. It pointed at the four-legged creature and carved the word wolf. These carvings were useful. They allowed us to communicate, to build, to organize. But an unintended and profound consequence occurred. We fell in love with our own carvings, and we forgot the stone underneath. We stopped seeing the unique, living, breathing, nameless entity that stood before us, and instead, we saw only our own label, tree. The map replaced the territory. This process did not stop with objects. We began to carve up our experiences. We carved the labels success and failure. We carved right and wrong, holy and profane. We carved us and them. And with every cut of the chisel, we moved further away from reality and deeper into a world of our own mental construction. The tyranny of the carved world is the source of almost all human suffering. A situation happens in your life. In its raw form, it is simply an event, an uncarved stone. It is neutral. Your relationship ends. Your job is lost. You receive a difficult diagnosis. These are events. They are the stone. The suffering does not begin with the event. The suffering begins the moment your mind picks up its chisel and carves a word into it. It carves, "I have failed." It carves, "I have been rejected." It carves, "This is a disaster." It carves, "My life is over." And suddenly, you are no longer dealing with the manageable reality of the event itself. You are crushed under the immense weight of your own judgment. You are not reacting to what is happening. You are reacting to what you have decided it means. This is the illusion we live in. We believe our suffering comes from the outside world, but it comes from the inside, from the sharp edge of our own relentless carving. We lose our sense of wonder because we believe we have already seen it all, already named it all. The world becomes a collection of dusty, familiar labels instead of a living, breathing mystery. We create conflict, convinced that our carvings are the right ones and that others are wrong, forgetting that we are all just staring at our own graffiti on the face of reality. The way back to peace, the way back to sanity, is to learn to see the uncarved stone once more. This is not a call to ignorance, to forget language. It is a call to see through language. It is the practice of looking at the world with the eyes of a child who sees everything for the first time. It is the highest form of mindfulness. Let us practice this now. Bring to your mind a situation in your life that is causing you pain, a problem that feels heavy and intractable. Do not push it away. Invite it into your awareness. Now, see it for what it is, a stone you have been carving with judgments. With the steady hand of your awareness, let us begin to gently chip those carvings away. If you have carved the word failure into it, let that word fall to the ground and dissolve. If you have carved the word unfair, let it crumble into dust. Chip away the words hopeless, terrible, unbearable, crisis. Let them all go. Be ruthless with the labels, but gentle with yourself. What is left when all the judgmental carvings are gone? What remains is only the raw, neutral fact of the situation. The stone itself. Instead of "my career is ruined," what is left is, "I am no longer working at that company." Instead of "I have been abandoned," what is left is, "This person is no longer in my daily life." Feel the difference. The first statement is a story, a heavy narrative laden with suffering. The second is a fact. It is clean. It may still be sad. It may still be challenging. But it is not a catastrophe. It is simply what is. It is the uncarved stone. Rest your awareness here, in the simple isness of the situation. Do not rush to fix it. Do not immediately try to figure out what to do next. For this moment, just give yourself the profound gift of being with reality as it is, without the added burden of your story about it. Breathe into this space. In this space, the panic subsides. The frantic energy of resistance dissolves. Your nervous system, which has been fighting a story, can finally stand down. And in this newfound stillness, this clarity, a deeper wisdom can emerge. Your response to the situation will now come not from a place of panicked reaction, but from a place of centered, clear-eyed choice. This is true power. To see the uncarved stone is to reclaim your freedom. You are no longer a slave to the automatic, conditioned judgments of your mind. You can witness events, even painful ones, with a measure of grace and equanimity. You see that reality is not for you or against you. It simply is. This perspective does not make you passive. On the contrary, it makes you incredibly effective. When you are not wasting your energy fighting your own stories, all of that energy becomes available for wise and creative action. When you can look upon the circumstances of your life as a series of uncarved stones, you notice something remarkable. You see that these stones are not static. They are moments in a great, flowing river of change. The end of a job is not a final destination called failure. It is a point of transition. The end of a relationship is not a permanent state of rejection. It is a fundamental shift in the pattern of your life. By refusing to carve a final, damning label onto any event, you allow it to be what it is, a catalyst, a moment of profound and necessary transformation. You realize that to grow, to evolve, you must be willing to let the old forms pass away. You must be willing to move with this current of change, rather than fighting it. This understanding prepares you to learn one of the deepest truths of the Grove, the wisdom of the serpent, the necessity of shedding your old skin. You have stood before the uncarved stone of reality, and in its silent, unnamed presence, you have found a quiet space between an event and your story about it. In that space, you have discovered the freedom to choose your response. This freedom now asks something of you. It asks you to not only see the world anew, but to allow yourself to be made new by it. It asks you to look upon the serpent, not as a symbol of temptation or deceit, but as the ancient Druids did, as a sacred teacher of rebirth, a master of transformation. For the deepest wisdom the serpent offers is this: growth is not a process of accumulation, but a process of release. To truly live, you must be willing to shed your skin. Consider the serpent. As it grows, its skin becomes tight, restrictive, and dull. It ceases to serve the creature's expansion. The skin that once protected it has now become its prison. And so, the serpent must go through a difficult, uncomfortable, and necessary ordeal. It must rub itself against the rough bark of trees and the sharp edges of stones. It must struggle, it must writhe, until the old, dead layer finally tears and begins to peel away, revealing a vibrant, new, and perfectly fitting skin beneath. It is reborn not by adding something new, but by letting go of what was old. You too are a creature of growth, and you too are covered in old skins, skins that once served you, that once protected you, that once defined you, but have now become too tight. These skins are the stories you tell about yourself. The most restrictive skin of all is the story of your past. I am the person who was hurt. I am the one who failed. I am not worthy of love because of what happened. This story, repeated endlessly in the silent grove of your mind, becomes a thick, leathery hide that prevents any new light from getting in. It keeps you locked in a past that no longer exists, forcing you to relive the same pains day after day. The serpent does not carry its old skins on its back. Why do you? Another layer of skin is your identity, the roles you have played, the labels you have worn. Perhaps you were the smart one, and now you are terrified to admit you don't know something. Perhaps you were the strong one, and now you are unable to ask for help, suffocating under the weight of your own forced resilience. Perhaps you were the victim, an identity that once gave you sympathy but now strips you of your power. These identities are not you. They are costumes you have outgrown. The discomfort you feel in your life, the sense of being an imposter, is the feeling of your expanding soul rubbing against the seams of a costume that is now 2 sizes too small. Beneath that are the skins of old beliefs, inherited rules about the world that you have never questioned. Beliefs about what you deserve, what is possible for you, what love is supposed to look like, what success means. These beliefs form a rigid, scaly armor that deflects new opportunities and fresh perspectives. And clinging to it all is the sticky, venomous residue of old grievances. Every resentment you hold, every person you have not forgiven, is a patch of dead skin you refuse to slough off. You think you are punishing them by holding on, but you are only poisoning yourself, preventing your own renewal. How do you know when it is time to shed? You will feel an unmistakable and profound discomfort. Life will begin to itch. You will feel irritable, restless, and confined. Things that once brought you comfort will now feel hollow. Your relationships, your job, your daily routines will feel like they are chafing against your very soul. This is not a sign that your life has gone wrong. It is a sacred and vital signal that you are ready to grow. The skin has become too tight. The serpent is being called to the rough stone. Do not mistake this sacred itch for a pathology. Do not rush to medicate it or distract yourself from it. It is a summons from your future self, begging you to let go of the past. The process of shedding is not passive. It requires your participation. It often feels like a struggle. It is the difficult conversation you have been avoiding. It is the decision to walk away from a situation that is no longer aligned with your soul. It is the act of looking in the mirror and telling a new story, even when the old one feels more familiar. It is the conscious, painful work of forgiveness. It is the grief that must be felt as you let go of an old dream to make space for a new one. In these moments, it can feel like you are breaking, like you are falling apart. You are. The old structure must break for the new one to emerge. You are the serpent, rubbing your tender body against the necessary harshness of truth, and it is the only way to be free. And then, a moment comes when the old skin finally gives way. The release is palpable, and in its wake, there is a period of profound vulnerability. Your new skin is raw, exquisitely sensitive to the world. This is a sacred time. It is not a time for bold new plans or loud pronouncements. It is a time for quiet integration, a time to be gentle with yourself, to nourish yourself, to allow this new, more authentic version of you to settle into its own being. You may feel wobbly, uncertain, and strange in this new skin. That is as it should be. You are seeing the world without the old dulling filter. You are feeling life without the thick armor of your old persona. It is a time of immense sensitivity and of immense grace. The reward for this ordeal is a freedom you could not have imagined while trapped in the old skin. There is a lightness, a sense of expansion. You can breathe more deeply. The world seems more vibrant, more alive. Possibilities appear where before there were only walls. You move with more grace, more authenticity, because you are finally moving in a way that is true to your own form. This is not just a metaphor. It is the biological, psychological, and spiritual imperative of a conscious being. You must shed to live. This is not a cataclysmic event that happens only once in a lifetime. It is a cycle. As you continue to grow, this new skin will one day become old. The itch will return. The summons will be heard again. The wisdom of the serpent is not in the single act of shedding, but in learning to embrace the entire cycle. It is to learn to recognize the discomfort as a holy signal, to have the courage to seek the rough stone of truth, and to trust that on the other side of the struggle is always, always, a more expansive life. To fight this process, to cling to the old skin out of fear, is to choose stagnation. It is to choose a slow death inside a prison of your own making. To surrender to it is to align yourself with the fundamental engine of the cosmos, the relentless, beautiful, and liberating current of change, the great river of time itself. You have felt the wisdom of the serpent, the sacred necessity of letting go of the old to make way for the new. This act of shedding, of release, is not a battle you wage against yourself. It is a dance you learn to perform with the grandest partner of all, the relentless, flowing, and deeply misunderstood current of time. Your relationship with time dictates the quality of your entire existence. To live in peace, you must understand the nature of the great river. Imagine you are standing on the bank of a vast, flowing river. The water that is before you now, swirling at your feet, is the present moment. The water downstream, which has already passed you and is now out of sight, is the past. The water upstream, which has yet to reach you, is the future. Now, where are you truly alive? Where can you feel and act and breathe? Only here, only on this single patch of ground where the water is currently touching the shore. The past is a memory. The future is a fantasy. The only reality you will ever experience is now. The ancient Druids knew this. They did not measure their lives in anxious striving for the future, but in the sacred, cyclical rhythms of the present, the rising and setting of the sun, the turning of the seasons, the waxing and waning of the moon. They knew that all power, all life, all truth resides in this single, eternal moment. Yet, where does the modern mind spend most of its life? It is haunted by two ghosts. The first is the ghost of the past. It sits beside you on the riverbank, endlessly whispering stories into your ear. It forces you to look downstream at the waters that have already gone. Sometimes, it whispers stories of resentment, forcing you to re-watch, in vivid detail, every hurt, every mistake, every injustice. Each time you indulge this ghost, you are drinking poison from a river that is already gone, hoping someone else will suffer. At other times, it whispers stories of nostalgia, of a golden age, a time when things were better, easier, more beautiful. You stare longingly at the wake of what was, and in doing so, you find the present moment lacking, gray, and insufficient. Whether through resentment or regret, living in the past is to be chained to a corpse. It is to carry the serpent's old, dead skin upon your back as a heavy, suffocating cloak. The second phantom is the ghost of the future. This ghost directs your gaze upstream, pointing to a place on the river you cannot yet see. It whispers stories of anxiety, painting terrifying pictures of waterfalls, of monsters lurking in the deep, of all the things that might go wrong. This is the what-if disease. It drains your life force into preparing for catastrophes that exist only in your imagination. Alternatively, the ghost points to a beautiful, sunlit harbor far upstream, a place called When. It promises, you will be happy when you get the promotion. You will be at peace when you find the perfect partner. Your life will begin when you finally achieve this goal. And so you spend your entire life on the riverbank, starving, while ignoring the nourishing fruit growing on the tree right beside you, because you are hypnotized by the promise of a feast that may or may not be waiting for you miles away. Living in the future is a guarantee of perpetual dissatisfaction. Imagine your consciousness is a boatman, and your life is the small boat you must guide. The river is ever present, the only place you can steer, the only place you can row, the only place you can feel the sun and the wind is right where your boat is, in the now. But the untrained boatman rarely looks at the water around him. He spends most of his time twisted around, staring back at the wake his boat has left, agonizing over its shape, wishing he could change it. Or he is staring so intently at a point on the distant horizon that he is blind to his immediate reality. In both cases, he is not present. And so, he crashes into the rocks that are right in front of him. He misses the gentle current that could have carried him easily. He fails to notice the beautiful cove where he could have rested. The price of this absence is life itself. It is the missed taste of your morning coffee because you were already planning your day. It is the missed sound of your child's laughter because you were replaying an argument in your head. It is the missed feeling of your partner's hand in yours because you were worried about tomorrow's bills. You are living in a dream, and your real life is passing you by. How then do you return? How does the boatman learn to look at the water around his own boat? You do not return through force, but through gentle anchoring. You must drop anchor into the firm ground of the now. Your first and most powerful anchor is your senses. The ghosts of past and future live only in the mind. Your senses operate only in the present. Right now, without trying to change anything, simply notice. What are three things you can see? Not just the label lamp, but the quality of its light, the curve of its shape, the dust on its surface. What are three things you can hear? The hum of a machine, a distant bird, the sound of your own breathing. And what can you feel? The solid support of the chair beneath you, the texture of your clothing against your skin, the temperature of the air. When you fully engage your senses, you pull your awareness out of the phantom world of thought and drop it directly into the living reality of the present moment. Your second anchor is your breath. The breath is the perfect rhythm of the now. It is not concerned with yesterday's breath, nor is it planning for tomorrow's. Two are. Each inhale is a new beginning. Each exhale is a complete letting go. Follow one full breath, from the very beginning of the inhale, all the way to the very end of the exhale. And in the stillness at the top and the bottom, you will find the silence of pure presence. To be fully with your breath is to be fully alive now. Your third anchor is the feeling of your inner body. Close your eyes for a moment and bring your attention inside. Can you feel the subtle field of aliveness that permeates your hands? Can you feel the energy in your feet, the gentle warmth in your chest? This inner life force is not a memory or a future goal. It is a direct, tangible experience of your own presence. You cannot feel yesterday's aliveness. You can only feel the aliveness that is here, now. By resting your attention in this inner field, you inhabit your body so fully that the ghosts of the mind simply cannot find a foothold. When you practice this, dropping your anchors into the now, you discover a profound truth. The past has no power over you. It is a story, and you can choose to stop telling it. The future has no power over you. It is a fantasy, and you can choose to stop believing in it. All of your power exists in this single present moment. This is the only point where you can choose. It is the only point where you can act. It is the only point where you can forgive. It is the only point where you can love. It is the only point where you can create. This is the point of power. By learning to live here, on the riverbank of the eternal now, you free yourself from the tyranny of circumstance. You are no longer defined by the wake of your past or a slave to the promise of your future. You are simply, powerfully, and completely here. And in this state of pure, unshakable presence, you come face to face with the one who is always here, the silent witness behind the eyes, the consciousness that experiences all things. You discover the ruler of your own inner kingdom. You realize your own soul's sovereignty. You have learned to stand firmly on the riverbank of the now, anchored in the only moment where life exists. From this place of profound presence, a radical shift occurs. You are no longer tossed about by the currents of past regret or future anxiety. You are still. And in this stillness, you become aware of who is doing the standing. You become aware of the silent, conscious presence within you that has been there all along, witnessing every thought, every emotion, every experience. This is the great discovery. You are not merely a boat tossed on the river. You are the unshakable ground upon which the river of life flows. This is the discovery of your own sovereignty. Within you, right now, exists a vast and sacred kingdom. It is the kingdom of your own consciousness. For your entire life, you have likely been taught that the ruler of this kingdom sits on a throne somewhere outside of you. You have been trained to look to others for approval, for permission, for validation. You have given the keys to your kingdom away to your parents, your partners, your teachers, your society. You have allowed the phantom of what will they think to sit upon your throne and dictate the laws of your own land. You have abdicated, and the result of this abdication is a feeling of powerlessness, a life lived according to borrowed values, a constant, low-level resentment at being a subject in your own country. It is time for a coronation. It is time for you to walk up the steps, claim your birthright, and take your rightful place upon the throne of your inner world. This is not an act of arrogance or ego. It is an act of ultimate responsibility. It is the reclaiming of a power that was always yours. Let us first define the borders of your kingdom, the domain over which you have absolute and total authority. Your kingdom is not the external world. You cannot rule the actions of others, the weather, or the shifting tides of fortune. The attempt to do so is the path of the tyrant and the way of suffering. Your kingdom, your sacred domain, is composed of 4 things. First, your thoughts. You cannot always control which thoughts arise, but you, and only you, have the sovereign power to choose which ones you believe, which ones you empower, and which ones you allow to pass like clouds. Second, your emotions. You are not responsible for the first wave of feeling that washes over you, but you are the absolute ruler of how you respond to it, whether you drown in it or learn to navigate its currents. Third, your choices. Every action you take, every word you speak, every yes and every no, is a royal decree shaping the reality of your kingdom. Fourth, and most precious, is your attention. Your attention is the sunlight of your kingdom. Whatever you place your attention upon grows. You are the sole authority who decides whether to shine your light on your fears and grievances or upon your gratitude and possibilities. To claim your sovereignty is to make a conscious vow. From this day forward, I will no longer seek permission from the outside world to be who I am. I will no longer wait for a certificate of worthiness from another. My value is inherent. My authority is my own. This is the first decree of the new ruler. It will feel frightening, because all of the old abdicated parts of you will protest. The inner court jester of self-doubt will tell you you are a fraud. The old minister of fear will warn you of the dangers of standing out. Your job as the sovereign is to listen to these voices, to acknowledge their presence, but not to hand them your scepter. A wise ruler listens to their counsel. Imagine you are seated on your throne. A difficult decision must be made. A messenger arrives from a neighboring kingdom. This is the opinion of a friend or family member. You must listen to it respectfully. It is valuable data. Then, your own minister of fear speaks, outlining all the potential risks. You must listen to this, too. It is the voice of self-preservation. Then, the whisper of your intuition, the high priestess of your soul, offers her counsel, which often comes as a feeling, a sense of rightness or wrongness. You must listen most carefully to this. As the sovereign, you take in all of this counsel. You weigh it against the foundational law of your land, your own integrity, your deepest values, and then you make your decision, alone, and you stand by it. You do not need to justify it or endlessly explain it. It is your decree. This is what it feels like to rule. A core power of any true sovereign is the ability to define and defend the borders of their kingdom. This is the power of the royal number. For most of your life, you have been taught that no is a selfish or aggressive word. This is a lie told to keep you compliant. Your no is a sacred tool of boundary setting. When you say no to a request that violates your values, no to a commitment that drains your life force, no to a relationship that disrespects your spirit, you are not attacking another. You are protecting your own kingdom. Every clear, guilt-free no is an act of self-love that reinforces the walls of your sovereignty and teaches the world how you are to be treated. This sovereignty is not a gift bestowed upon you. It is a crown that you must forge for yourself. It is forged in the fire of difficult choices. It is tempered with the water of self-compassion when you make a mistake. It is polished with the consistency of your self-respect. It is the quiet confidence that grows each time you choose your own inner truth over external approval. And with this great power comes great responsibility. To be sovereign is not to be a tyrant. A tyrant oppresses the dissenting voices in their kingdom. A wise sovereign rules with benevolence. You listen to the needs of your inner population, the fear of your inner child, the desires of your shadow, the needs of your physical body. You do not indulge every whim, but you do not crush every protest. You rule with a firm and loving hand. You are responsible for the well-being of your entire inner world. When you fully embody this sovereignty, your entire posture in the world changes. You cease to be needy. You no longer walk into a room wondering, do they like me? Instead, you enter with a quiet sense of self-possession, wondering, does this situation align with my spirit? Do I like them? You stop giving your power away. The opinions of others, whether praise or criticism, become mere information. They are the messengers from another land. You thank them for their report, and then you turn your attention back to the business of your own kingdom. An unshakable peace begins to settle within you, because you know that no matter what storms may rage in the outer world, no matter who approves or disapproves. The throne within you is secure. You are home. You are safe. You are the ruler. And as the wise and conscious ruler of your own life, you come to understand a fundamental law of nature. Every choice you make, every decree you issue, is like a seed that you plant in the soil of your kingdom. Your actions, your thoughts, your intentions, they all have consequences. A wise ruler knows that the state of their kingdom tomorrow is the direct result of the seeds they are planting today. They understand that to create a flourishing, peaceful, and abundant kingdom, they must learn to master the immutable, sacred law of the harvest. As the recognized sovereign of your inner kingdom, you stand upon the solid ground of the present moment, holding the scepter of your own authority. From this place of power, you are no longer a passive victim of circumstance, but an active participant in the creation of your life. You are now ready to engage with the most practical and profound law of the cosmos. It is a law understood by every ancient culture that lived in harmony with the earth. It is not a law of magical thinking or instant gratification. It is the steady, honest, and immutable law of the harvest. Popular culture may speak of a law of attraction, a cosmic vending machine where positive thoughts are inserted to receive desired prizes. This simplistic view has led to much confusion and self-blame. The Druidic understanding is far more grounded, more organic, and infinitely more powerful. The universe is not a catalog. It is a field, a vast, fertile, and responsive field. It does not respond to mere wishing. It responds to cultivation. You are the farmer of your own reality. The state of your life, right now, is the direct result of the seeds you have planted in the past, whether consciously or unconsciously. To create a different future, you must learn to become a conscious and deliberate sower. The first stage of any successful harvest is the preparation of the soil. You cannot expect to grow a field of golden wheat on barren, rocky ground choked with weeds. The soil is your own consciousness, the state of your inner kingdom. Before you even think of planting a new seed of intention, you must first tend to the field. This means, first, you must weed. The weeds are your limiting beliefs, your deep-seated feelings of unworthiness, your cynical conviction that nothing will ever change. A seed of "I intend to create abundance" cannot take root in a mind that is overrun with the weeds of "I don't deserve it" or "there's never enough." This weeding is the shadow work you have done, the old skins you have shed. It is the courageous act of uprooting the narratives that no longer serve you. Once the weeds are cleared, you must till the soil. You must break up the hard, compacted earth of your rigid thinking and habitual negativity. This is done by cultivating openness and curiosity. It is the willingness to believe that a new reality is possible. And most importantly, you must enrich the soil. The single greatest nutrient for the soil of consciousness is gratitude. Gratitude is not a passive thank you. It is an active state of attunement. By focusing on the abundance you already possess, the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the kindness of a friend, you are declaring to the universe that your field is a place where good things are recognized and valued. A mind fixated on lack is sterile ground. A mind watered by gratitude is a fertile field, ready and waiting for a new seed. Now, you must choose your seed with great care. This is your intention. An intention is not a desperate, grasping desire born from a place of lack. A desire says, "I need this to be happy." An intention says, "I choose to create this because it is an expression of my soul's purpose." The seed must be whole, pure, and potent. It must be like a perfect acorn, containing within it the complete energetic blueprint of the mighty oak tree you wish to grow. This requires clarity. What do you truly want to create? Not what you think you should want, but what your soul genuinely yearns for. Your intention must be aligned with the laws of your kingdom, with your deepest values. An intention to create wealth at the expense of your integrity is a poisoned seed. Even if it grows, its fruit will be bitter. Take the time to distill your intention until it feels clean, powerful, and true. With the soil prepared and the seed chosen, you come to the sacred act of planting. This is not a moment of begging or pleading with the universe. It is a moment of calm, confident, creative power. You plant the seed not with your thoughts alone, but with the full force of your being. You must feel the reality of your intention as if it were already here. This is the water that causes the seed to germinate. If your intention is to create a life of joyful partnership, you must cultivate the feelings of love, connection, and appreciation in your heart now. If your intention is to create a thriving career, you must embody the feelings of confidence, purpose, and accomplishment now. This emotional resonance is the signal you send into the fertile field of the universe. It is the energetic frequency that says, "I am ready to receive this reality because I am already a vibrational match to it." Here is where the path of the conscious farmer diverges from the path of the wishful thinker. A farmer does not plant a seed and then walk away, hoping for the best. The work of cultivation now begins. The seed, now in the soil, needs consistent care. It needs sunlight. The sunlight is your belief. It is the unwavering trust that the seed is viable and that the laws of nature are at work. Every time you doubt, every time you worry, every time you dig up the seed to see if it's sprouting, you are blocking the sun and disturbing the delicate process of germination. You must trust the unseen growth that is happening in the darkness of the soil. The seed also needs continued watering. This is the practice of maintaining your emotional alignment and, crucially, taking inspired and aligned action. You cannot plant a seed for a healthy body and continue to eat poison. You cannot plant a seed for a new business and refuse to make the necessary phone calls. Action is the physical manifestation of your intention. It is the proof to the universe that you are serious. These are not actions of desperate striving, but of inspired flow. When you are truly aligned with your intention, the next logical step will appear before you. Your job is to take it. And finally, the law of the harvest demands patience. It demands that you honor the seasons. You cannot plant in the spring and demand to harvest in the spring. There is a necessary and sacred cycle of germination, sprouting, growth, and maturation. The universe operates on its own perfect timeline, not yours. Your impatience is a form of doubt, a lack of trust in the process. To be a master farmer of your reality is to cultivate a deep and abiding patience, to find joy in the tending of the field itself, knowing with absolute certainty that the harvest will come in its own due time. When the harvest does arrive, it will feel less like a miracle and more like the natural, inevitable result of your dedicated cultivation. The reality you intended will manifest, often in ways more beautiful and surprising than your mind could have planned. You will look upon your life, this flourishing field, and know that it was not a matter of luck or chance. It was a matter of law. You were the farmer. You prepared the soil, you chose the seed, you planted it with love, and you tended it with faith and diligence. In this entire sacred process, from clearing the weeds to choosing the seed, one tool is more powerful than any other for giving your intention, focus, energy, and form. It is the tool that separates a vague wish from a potent, world-shaping force. It is the ancient tool of the bards and the mystics. It is the power of language, of the words you use to shape your reality. To truly master the law of the harvest, you must first understand that your words are not mere descriptions. Your words are incantations. You are the farmer of your reality, the sovereign of your inner world. You stand in the fertile field of the present moment, understanding that the quality of your harvest depends entirely on the quality of the seeds you plant and the care with which you cultivate them. Now, we come to the most sacred tool of cultivation, the tool used to bless the seed and give it its true energetic form. We come to the power of your words. In the modern world, language has been stripped of its magic. It has become a utilitarian tool for labeling, describing, and communicating information. But the ancients, and especially the Druids, knew a deeper truth. They understood that language is not merely descriptive, it is creative. They knew that to speak is to cast a spell. Every word you utter, whether aloud or in the silence of your mind, is an incantation, a vibrational frequency sent out into the cosmos that shapes the energy both within you and around you. The greatest evidence of this belief is the mystical alphabet of the Druids, the Ogham. The Ogham is not like a modern alphabet. It was a system of notches and lines, carved into stone markers and wands of wood, and its profound genius lies in the fact that each letter is named for a tree and embodies the spirit, the medicine, and the wisdom of that tree. To write the letter B, Beeth, was to invoke the purifying, regenerative energy of the birch tree. To carve the letter D, Duir, was to call upon the unshakable strength and endurance of the mighty oak. To use the letter F, Fern, was to connect with the prophetic, protective power of the alder. Think of what this means. For the Druid, language was not an abstract human invention. It was a living bridge to the soul of the natural world. To speak or write was to consciously commune with the spirits of the forest. It was to understand that words have roots, that they draw power from the earth of meaning, and that they produce fruit in the world of reality. This sacred understanding has been forgotten, but the law it represents has not been suspended. You are still speaking a magical language. You are simply casting your spells unconsciously. Consider the tree of your own life. Every word you speak to yourself is a chisel, carving a notch into its trunk. What have you been carving? Listen closely to the silent, incessant monologue that runs in your mind. I'm so tired. Carve. I can never get it right. Carve. I'm not good enough. Carve. This is impossible. Carve. Day after day, these seemingly innocent phrases are repeated. They are not harmless observations. They are negative incantations. They are hypnotic spells that you are casting upon yourself. You are commanding your body to be tired. You are instructing your subconscious to create failure. You are hypnotizing yourself into a state of limitation. Each phrase is a cut that deepens the groove of that reality, making it more likely that you will think it, feel it, and experience it again. You have been, with your own words, carving a prison for yourself into the very wood of your own being. The time has come to become a master carver. It is time to pick up your tools with consciousness and care. This is not about lying to yourself or engaging in hollow positive thinking. This is about linguistic alchemy. It is about choosing to speak a deeper, more resonant truth about who you are. The two most powerful words in your magical vocabulary are I am. These are not descriptive words. They are creative words. They are a direct statement of being, a command to the universe and to the trillions of cells in your body to align with the reality that follows. For years, you may have been unconsciously completing that phrase with limitations. I am broke. I am sick. I am lonely. The conscious practice is to take hold of this creative power deliberately. It is to stand before the tree of your life and begin to carve new, beautiful, and empowering patterns. It is to declare, with quiet conviction, I am strong, I am capable, I am worthy of love, I am guided and protected. At first, your rational mind may rebel. It may feel like a lie, but it is not. You are not describing your current temporary circumstances. You are affirming the eternal truth of your soul. You are speaking into existence the reality you choose to inhabit. You are carving the symbol of the oak, Duir, into your being, and its energy of strength must, by law, answer your call. This practice extends beyond affirmations. It is about transforming your entire relationship with language. Listen to how you speak about your life. Do you say, I have to go to work? That is the language of a prisoner. Try shifting it to, I choose to go to work to create stability for myself and my family. Can you feel the shift? The first is a statement of victimhood. The second is a decree of sovereignty. Do you say, I have a terrible problem? That is the language of crisis. Try saying, I am facing a challenge, or I have a situation that is inviting me to find a new level of creativity. One is a wall, the other is a doorway. Learn to speak with precision and reverence. Eradicate the lazy, negative shorthand from your vocabulary. Banish words like always and never when speaking of your limitations. I always mess things up. Is that truly, absolutely true, or is it a spell you have been casting? Replace it with, in the past, I have made mistakes, and I have learned from them. Be a guardian at the gate of your own mouth and your own mind. Do not let these low-frequency, disempowering words pass without being challenged and transformed. Create for yourself a personal incantation, a mantra. It can be as simple as the word peace, breathed in and out. It could be a phrase that supports your current intention, such as I move through my day with grace and confidence. Repeat it silently as you walk, as you wash the dishes, as you wait in line. With each repetition, you are recarving the neural pathways in your brain. You are overriding the old, negative spells. You are tuning your own energetic field to a new and higher frequency. You are taking the chisel of your attention and consciously creating a pattern of beauty and strength on the tree of your life. Your words are seeds. Every time you speak, you are either planting a flower or a weed in the garden of your reality. Be deliberate. Be mindful. Speak of what you want to create, not what you fear. Speak of your strength, not your weakness. Speak of the healing that is occurring, not the illness that was. Do this not as an exercise in wishful thinking, but with the sober understanding of a master magician who knows that to speak a thing is to give it life. And as you become more skilled in this craft, you will notice that your words begin to take on a new resonance. They carry more weight, more power. This is because they are no longer just your words. When you speak a word of truth, a word of love, a word of courage, you are not speaking alone. You are aligning yourself with a universal force. Your individual word, your personal incantation, becomes a single note played in perfect harmony with a great cosmic chord. It sends a vibration out from your own center, a ripple that travels through the vast, invisible, and interconnected tapestry of all existence. You have learned to speak with the power of a conscious creator, to use your words as incantations that shape the energy of your life. You have learned to plant seeds of intention in the fertile field of the now. With each conscious word, with each deliberate action, you send a vibration out from your center. But where does that vibration go? The ancient sages of the North, whose wisdom echoes in the traditions of the Druids, had a word for the destination and the source of all things. They called it word. And to understand word is to understand your true place in the cosmos. We often think of destiny as a straight line, a pre-written script that we are forced to follow. Word is not like that. Imagine, instead, an infinitely vast and intricate spider's web glistening with morning dew in the heart of the forest. It is so immense that it fills all of space, so ancient that it predates time. This is the web of word. Every event that has ever happened, every thought that has ever been thought, every life that has ever been lived is a silken thread woven into this cosmic tapestry. The past is not gone. It is here, now, forming the structure and tension of the web as it currently exists. The future is not a distant place. It is the potential of the web to be rewoven in the very next moment. Now see yourself within this web. You are not separate from it. You are a part of it. You are a luminous, shimmering intersection point, a dewdrop where countless threads converge. The threads that lead to you are the weird of your past, the lives of your ancestors, the culture you were born into, the experiences of your childhood, every choice you have made up until this moment. These threads have shaped you, conditioned you, and brought you to this exact point in the web. But you are not merely a product of the past. From your point of intersection, new threads extend outward. These are your present thoughts, your present words, your present actions. With every choice you make in this moment, you are actively weaving the future of the web. You are a co-creator of word. This web is not a static, dead thing. It is alive. It is a resonant field of consciousness, and it operates according to a simple, inescapable physics of vibration. Imagine a spider resting at her own center. A single fly, struggling in a far-flung corner of the web, sends a vibration along every thread, and the spider feels it instantly. You, as a luminous node in this cosmic web, are both the spider and the fly. Every action you take sends a vibration, a ripple, through the entire structure, and that vibration, by the very nature of the web, must eventually find its way back to you. Consider an act of deliberate, selfless kindness. You offer help to a stranger with no thought of reward. In that moment, you have sent a gentle, harmonious pluck along the threads that emanate from you. This beautiful, high-frequency vibration travels outward, touching the threads of countless other beings in ways you will never see. It may subtly lift the spirits of someone you passed on the street. It may inspire another to perform their own act of kindness. The web itself becomes stronger, more luminous, more harmonious because of your action. And that clean, beautiful vibration, as it echoes through the tapestry, eventually returns to its source. It may come back to you as a moment of unexpected grace, a flash of synchronicity, a feeling of deep, abiding peace. This is not a reward from a celestial judge. It is the simple, elegant physics of word. Now consider an act of anger, a cruel word spoken in haste, a selfish deed. This sends a jagged, discordant vibration out into the web. It is like snapping a thread or flinging a stone into the delicate structure. This jarring energy also travels outward. It creates tension. It weakens the connections around it. It contributes to the overall suffering and chaos of the world. And it, too, must return to its source. It may return as a sudden argument, a piece of bad luck, or a persistent feeling of anxiety and isolation. This is not punishment. It is the echo of your own discordant energy returning home. This is the essence of what other traditions call karma. It is the law of the web. What you weave is what you will experience. This law extends even to the unseen world of your thoughts. A sustained thought of love and gratitude is a high-frequency hum that beautifies your section of the web and attracts resonant, beautiful experiences. A sustained thought of hatred, resentment, or fear is a low-frequency drone that pollutes your corner of the tapestry and attracts resonant, difficult experiences. This is why cultivating your inner kingdom is not a selfish act. The peace you create within yourself is a gift to the entire world, because it harmonizes the very fabric of existence. The implications of this are staggering. The first is the utter annihilation of the illusion of isolation. You are never, ever alone. To feel lonely is to have forgotten that you are connected by invisible threads to every other being in the universe. The joy of another is, on some level, your joy. The suffering of another is, in a very real way, your own. We are all in this together, inextricably woven into the same magnificent and sometimes tragic design. The second implication is the profound and sacred meaning of your life. There are no small or insignificant actions. The quiet, unseen choice to act with integrity, the gentle word that soothes another's fear, the conscious thought of forgiveness, these are not small things. They are heroic acts of cosmic mending. You are tending to the holy tapestry of life itself. Every moment becomes an opportunity to weave beauty, to strengthen the web, to be a force for healing in the world. This is radical responsibility. You cannot control the entire web, but you are the absolute sovereign of the threads you send out from your own center. Living with an awareness of word transforms you. It softens your judgment of others, for you see that they too are a product of the threads woven into them. It deepens your compassion. It sharpens your sense of personal accountability. You cease to see yourself as a solitary actor in a random world, and begin to see yourself as a vital weaver, a sacred artist whose medium is life itself. You cannot change the threads of the past that led to you, but with every breath, with every choice, you are weaving the word that is to come. And as you sit with this truth, as you truly feel the silken threads of connection binding you to all things, another great illusion begins to tremble. If you are a thread in the web, and your neighbor is a thread in the web, and the tree outside your window is a thread in the web, where, exactly, do you end and the rest of the world begin? The space between the threads, the very idea of separation, is revealed to be the final, most persistent illusion of all. You have felt your connection to the great web of word, the invisible tapestry that binds all of existence together. You have seen how your every action sends a ripple through this cosmic fabric. Now, we must take the final, most profound step in this journey of perception. We must look so closely at the threads of this web that the space between them disappears. We must, with great courage and honesty, question the very existence of the weaver you call I. From the moment you were born, you began to build a fortress. It was a necessary construction for survival. The first bricks were your name. Then came the bricks of your personality. I am shy, I am clever, I am funny. You added the bricks of your history. I am the one who was hurt. I am the one who succeeded. You built walls with your beliefs, your accomplishments, your wounds, and your possessions. This fortress is the entity you call me or I, and you have spent your entire life defending it, decorating it, and reinforcing its walls because you believe that you live inside it and that everything else lives outside. This is the illusion of the separate self. It is the root cause of loneliness, of competition, of fear, and of the feeling of being an alien in the cosmos. This fortress, which once served to protect you, has now become your prison. Let us, with gentle curiosity, test the reality of these walls. Consider your body, this physical structure you call mine. Is it truly separate? The atoms that compose it were forged in the hearts of long-dead stars. The water that fills your cells was once a cloud, a river, the rain. The food that built your bones and muscles was once a plant drawing life from the sun, or an animal that was part of its own great cycle. The air that you are breathing in this very moment was, just a moment ago, breathed out by the tree outside your window. Your body is not a static object you own. It is a temporary, miraculous confluence of the entire planet. You are not in the world. You are the world, experiencing itself as a human body. Consider your thoughts, which feel so personal, so uniquely yours. The very language they are made of was taught to you. The concepts, the ideas, the opinions, they are echoes and remixes of every book you have read, every conversation you have had, every piece of art you have seen. Your thoughts are not born in a vacuum. They arise from the great, collective ocean of human consciousness. You are not the author of the thoughts. You are the clearing in the forest where they appear. Consider your emotions. The deep ache of grief, the soaring flight of joy, the hot flash of anger. Do you believe these are yours alone? They are the universal currents of the human sea. The same wave of sorrow that breaks on the shore of your heart has broken on the shores of a billion hearts before you. The same warmth of love you feel has been the central fire of humanity for millennia. You are not creating these emotions. You are a vessel through which these great, impersonal energies flow. So what is this I that is left when its body is made of the earth? Its thoughts are made of the collective, and its emotions are the currents of the universe. The I is not a solid entity. It is a pattern, a temporary, beautiful, and unique ripple on the surface of a single, unified ocean of consciousness. It is a wave, believing for a moment that it is separate from the sea. The ancient Druids understood this through the most powerful metaphor they knew, the tree. Imagine you are a single leaf on a branch of a colossal, world-spanning oak tree. You have your own unique shape, your own pattern of veins, your own experience of the sun on your surface and the wind in your edges. From your perspective, you might feel quite separate. You might compare yourself to other leaves, feel proud of your vibrant green, or fear the coming of autumn. But now, allow your awareness to travel down your stem, into the twig, along the sturdy branch, down the massive gnarled trunk, and deep, deep into the darkness of the earth, where the vast, unseen root system spreads out, drinking from the same soil, intertwining with the roots of every other tree in the forest. Your life, your very existence as a leaf, is completely and utterly dependent on the whole. The sap that nourishes you is the shared lifeblood of the entire tree. You are not a separate leaf. You are the whole tree, experiencing itself for one glorious summer as this particular leaf. This is the great shift in identity. You are not the separate, fragile ego trapped in its fortress of fear. You are the entire tree of life, the whole web of word, the one unified consciousness that underlies all of existence. The pain of another is your pain, felt in a different part of your one body. The joy of the bird in flight is your joy, experienced through a different set of senses. You can experience this truth directly. This is the practice of kinship. Go and stand before a tree. Look at it. See past your mental label of tree. Feel its silent, slow, and dignified presence. Recognize that the same mysterious life force that drives its roots into the earth is the same force that beats your heart. Place your hand on its bark and feel its quiet, solid strength. Breathe in the oxygen it so freely gives. Breathe out the carbon dioxide it needs to live. In this simple, conscious exchange, the boundary between you and the tree dissolves. You are participating in a single shared metabolism of life. You are kin. Look into the eyes of an animal. See beyond the fur or the scales. See the consciousness that looks back at you. Recognize the shared will to live, to avoid pain, to feel safe. In that moment of shared recognition, the illusion of separation between human and animal melts away. Look at a person you consider a stranger. For a moment, consciously drop all the labels your mind projects onto themage, gender, race, class. Look beneath the surface and see the shared humanity. See the same hopes for happiness, the same fears of loss, the same longing for love and belonging that lives in your own heart. In that moment of silent seeing, the stranger vanishes, and only a fellow expression of the one life remains. This is the heart of compassion, to recognize the self in the other. When this shift begins to happen, the fortress of the I crumbles. The frantic, lifelong project of defending, promoting, and worrying about the separate self begins to wind down. The energy that was once consumed by that defense is liberated. Loneliness becomes a conceptual impossibility, for how can the ocean be lonely? Fear of death is softened, for how can the whole tree die when a single leaf falls? A deep, unshakable peace arises that is not dependent on external circumstances. It is the peace of coming home. As the hard shell of the separate self softens and dissolves, your perception of reality itself becomes more fluid, more permeable. You are no longer a solid object, navigating a world of other solid objects. You are a field of awareness, interpenetrating with all other fields. The rigid boundary between this world and other worlds, between the seen and the unseen, begins to thin. By finding your kinship with all life, you have found the key. You have opened the door to a dimension of reality that the ego, in its fortress, could never perceive. You are ready to sense the presence of the other world. You stand now in a new reality. The hard fortress of the separate self has begun to dissolve, and you feel your kinship with all life. The solid wall between you and the world has become a permeable membrane. As this inner boundary softens, another, greater boundary also begins to thin. The boundary between the world you see and the world you sense is just beyond your sight. You are ready to speak of the other world. When modern ears hear this term, they often imagine a fantasy land, a fairy island across a western sea, or a heavenly afterlife one travels to upon death. These are beautiful, poetic stories, but they are fingers pointing at the moon, not the moon itself. The Druidic wisdom, the deep knowing of the Celtic soul, understands that the other world is not another place. It is another dimension. It is not somewhere you go to. It is a reality you tune into. It is here, now, interpenetrating this very room, coexisting with the world you know, just as light and sound and radio waves all occupy the same space without interfering with one another. Imagine that your ordinary consciousness, with its 5 senses and its rational, analytical mind, is a radio receiver that has been permanently set to a single frequency. Let's call it 99.9 FM, the reality station. On this station, the broadcast is predictable. Time moves in a straight line. Cause and effect are reliable. Objects are solid and separate. This is the station you have been listening to for your entire life, and you have come to believe it is the only station on the air. But the silence between the songs on your station is not empty. It is filled with other broadcasts, other frequencies, other worlds. 101.5 FM is playing right now. A different song, a different reality, but your dial is not tuned to it. The other world, the Tir Na Nog of the ancients, is simply a different frequency on the cosmic dial. It is a dimension of reality that operates under different laws, with a different quality of time, space, and consciousness. It is not far away. It is closer than your own breath. The only thing separating you from it is the tuning of your awareness. This separation is what the old stories call the veil or the mist. This is not a physical barrier in the landscape. The veil is woven from the threads of your own ordinary mind. It is the thick fog of your constant inner chatter, your worries, your plans, your judgments. It is the hard certainty of the ego that insists that what it sees is all there is. The denser and more rigid your sense of a separate self, the thicker the veil. The more you identify with the non-stop thinking mind, the more hopelessly you are locked onto a single frequency. The ancient Celts knew that there are times and places where this veil naturally thins, where the signal from the other world bleeds through more clearly. These are the liminal spaces. Liminal comes from the Latin word for threshold. A threshold is a place that is neither one thing nor the other. It is the sacred in-between. Liminal times are dawn and dusk, neither day nor night. Midnight neither today nor tomorrow. The great festivals of Samhain and Beltane, thresholds between the seasons of winter and summer. Liminal places are the seashoring, either land nor sea, the bank of a river, the edge of a forest, neither civilization nor wilderness, a doorway, a mist-covered hilltop. These places and times are not magical in themselves. They are powerful because they naturally disrupt the certainty of the rational mind. Their ambiguity, their dreamlike quality, quiets the inner monologue. It relaxes the ego's tight grip on reality. In these liminal states, the dial on your receiver loosens, and you become capable of perceiving what is always there, but usually ignored. So how does one consciously learn to turn this dial? How do you attune yourself to this other frequency? It is not a matter of force, but of cultivating a different quality of attention. The first and most powerful way is through the practice of deep silence you have already learned. Meditation, in its essence, is the act of turning down the volume on your home station, 99.9 FM, until the inner chatter subsides. As the static of your own thoughts fades, you begin to hear more subtle sounds. You start to perceive the fainter broadcasts. In a state of profound stillness, insights, images, and feelings can arise that do not belong to the logic of your everyday mind. They are whispers from the other world. The second way is through the creative fire of Owen. When you are completely absorbed in an act of creation, whether painting, writing, playing music, or even gardening, you step out of the fortress of the self. Your sense of time dissolves. Your ego fades into the background. You are simply a channel for a flowing energy. This flow state is, in fact, a temporary and conscious visit to the other world. In that dimension, time is fluid and non-linear. Intention and creation are one and the same. To be in a state of creative flow is to be speaking the native language of this other dimension. The third gateway is through your dreams. The dream world is a dimension where your consciousness is freed from the laws of physics and the constraints of your physical body. It is a close cousin to the other world. By paying attention to your dreams, by recording them, by learning to become lucid within them, you are training your consciousness to be comfortable and functional in a non-physical, symbolic reality. And finally, you tune in through the practice of kinship with the natural world. When you truly see a tree, not as an object, but as a fellow being of consciousness, you are attuning yourself to its frequency. The consciousness of a tree is slow, ancient, and silent. It exists simultaneously in our world of form and in the energetic, timeless realm. By connecting with it, you allow its state of being to influence your own, subtly shifting your own vibrational frequency closer to that of the other world. When these glimpses come, what is it that you perceive? It will not be a cartoonish world of fairies and elves. It will be an experience of reality with different properties. You might experience a profound sense of time dilation, where a moment seems to stretch into an eternity. You may perceive a luminous quality to the world around you, as if everything is glowing with a faint inner light. You may experience synchronicities so perfect and meaningful that they defy all notions of random chance. You may feel an overwhelming sense of presence, a feeling of being accompanied by an unseen intelligence or love. This is the land of the ever-young, not because its inhabitants do not age, but because it is the land of the eternal now, a dimension free from the corrosive march of linear time. To perceive this other frequency, this sacred dimension that lies just behind the curtain of the ordinary, is a great gift, but it also requires strength and discernment. To stand on the threshold between worlds, to hold two realities in your awareness at once, requires a stable center. You cannot allow yourself to be passively swept away by whatever frequency comes through. You must become the master of your own perception. You must become the calm, conscious, and unwavering guardian at the threshold of your own mind. You have glimpsed the other world. You have felt the silken threads of weird that connect you to all things, and have stood in the humbling truth that the separate self is a beautiful illusion. This opening of your perception is a profound gift, but it comes with a new and sacred challenge. As the walls of your ego have thinned, you have become more sensitive, more permeable to the energies of the world around you. You can feel the joy in the air, but you can also feel the anxiety. You can sense the love, but you can also absorb the fear. To be a conscious being is to be an open system, but an open system without a gate is not a sanctuary. It is a public thoroughfare. It is now time to learn the art of the guardian. It is time to stand at the threshold of your own being and exercise your sovereign right of discernment. For much of your life, especially if you are a person of sensitivity and empathy, you may have believed that being spiritual meant being endlessly open, endlessly compassionate, endlessly available. You may have acted like a city with no walls and no guards, leaving your gates wide open for any traveler to wander in. And you have likely paid the price. You have felt drained after certain conversations, anxious in crowded places, overwhelmed by the emotional storms of others. You have mistaken the absorption of toxic energy for an act of compassion. This is a critical misunderstanding. True compassion does not mean setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. True spiritual strength is not found in being a porous sponge, but in becoming a conscious, guarded, and sacred vessel. Imagine that your soul, your inner world, is a hidden, walled garden, a sacred grove you have been tending throughout this entire journey. Within its walls are your quiet pools of peace, your tender new sprouts of self-worth, and the ancient, wise trees of your deepest truth. This garden is your sanctuary. It is the source of your power and your peace. Now, would you allow a frantic, angry stranger to burst through the gate, trample your delicate flowers, throw their refuse into your clear pools, and shout their grievances all day, disturbing the quiet harmony of your grove? Of course not. It would be an act of desecration. Yet, energetically, this is what so many of us allow every single day. We allow the angry opinions of the world to trample our peace. We allow the bitter gossip of a coworker to pollute our minds. We allow the fear-mongering of the media to choke our new sprouts of hope. We have left the gate to our sacred garden untended. The first duty of the guardian is to know their own territory. Before you can discern what is foreign, you must be intimately familiar with what is native. You must know your own home frequency. Take a moment now to feel into your own core. Beneath the surface noise of thought and emotion, there is a fundamental energetic signature that is uniquely you. It may feel like a quiet hum, a gentle warmth, a sense of stillness, or a feeling of expansive peace. This is your baseline. This is the feeling of your own soul in its natural state. The guardian must know this feeling as well as they know their own name. This is the scent of your own soil, the sound of your own river. The second duty of the guardian is to stand at the gate and mindfully observe all that approaches. As you go about your day, practice feeling the energy of what you encounter. When you meet a person, listen not only to their words, but feel their energetic presence. Does it feel expansive and life-giving? Or does it feel constricting, heavy, or draining? When you read an article or watch a video, notice its effect on your inner state. Does it leave you feeling empowered and clear, or anxious and agitated? This is not about judging the person or the information as good or bad in an absolute sense. It is about discernment. It is recognizing with neutral clarity, this energy is not resonant with the well-being of my sacred grove. This is not for me. The third and most crucial duty of the guardian is to learn to close the gate. The tool for this is the sacred and powerful number. For too long, you have been taught that no is a word of rejection, of unkindness. Reclaim it now as a word of sacred self-preservation. Your no is the loving and firm action of the guardian, turning an unwanted energy away from the gate. This no can take many forms. It is politely excusing yourself from a conversation that has devolved into gossip. It is declining an invitation that you know will deplete you. It is turning off the news when you feel its fear seeping into your system. It is refusing to take on the emotional drama of another person as your own. You can be a compassionate listener without allowing their storm to become your storm. This no is not spoken with anger or righteousness. It is spoken with the quiet, unshakable authority of a sovereign protecting their domain. It does not require a long, convoluted explanation. Thank you for the invitation, but I won't be able to make it. I'm not able to discuss this right now. This is not a conversation I wish to participate in. These are complete statements. They are the sound of the gate gently but firmly closing. Each time you say a clear, conscious no to that which is not for you, you are saying a profound yes to yourself. You are honoring the sanctity of your own inner garden. This guardianship also extends to your inner world. You must stand at the threshold between your conscious mind and the wilder territories of your own subconscious. When a fearful thought, a memory of past failure, or a wave of self-doubt arises from within, you do not have to let it run rampant through your inner castle. The guardian at the inner gate meets it with awareness. You do not fight it, but you do not grant it automatic entry. You acknowledge it. I see you, fear. You might even honor its intention. I know you are trying to keep me safe, but then you, the sovereign, make a conscious choice. Thank you for your counsel, but I will not allow you to rule this kingdom. I am choosing to proceed with courage. By practicing this art of the guardian, your inner world transforms. It ceases to be a chaotic crossroads, vulnerable to every passing energy. It becomes a fortress of peace, a well-tended sanctuary. Your energy, which was once scattered and depleted by the constant need to process external static, becomes consolidated, potent, and available to you. You are no longer living in a state of constant, low-level defense. You are grounded, centered, and secure in your own being. From this place of security and consolidated power, you can now move from a posture of preservation to one of creation. A guardian who is constantly fighting off intruders has no energy left to build. But a guardian who is master of a peaceful and secure kingdom has all the resources they need at their command. Your will is no longer fragmented. Your focus is no longer divided. You have become a focused, coherent force. You are ready to step out from the gate, not to defend, but to deliberately and powerfully shape the world according to your intention. You are ready to enter the forge of the will. You stand now as the guardian of your own sacred grove, the undisputed sovereign of your inner world. Your energetic boundaries are strong, your sanctuary is secure, and your mind is a place of peace. The energy that was once scattered in defending against external noise and internal chaos is now yours to command. It is consolidated, potent, and waiting for direction. You have moved beyond a state of mere preservation. You are now ready to step into your full creative power. You are ready to approach the great, roaring heart of your being, the forge of your will. For most of your life, you have been taught to think of willpower as a grim, joyless struggle. It is the act of gritting your teeth, of forcing yourself to do things you do not want to do. It is a battle waged against your own desires, a white-knuckled fight against temptation. This vision of will, as a brutal taskmaster, is why it so often fails. It creates an inner war, and in a war against yourself, you can never truly win. It is exhausting, and it is unsustainable. Let us now discard this painful illusion and embrace the Druidic understanding of will. Will is not a force of brutish opposition. It is not about fighting reality. True will is the art of focused alignment. It is the divine ability to gather the diffuse, creative energy of the universe, the flowing spirit of Awanand, channel it through the lens of a single, unwavering intention. It is not a battle. It is the focused, masterful art of the smith. Imagine yourself now as the master smith of your own life. Your consciousness is the sacred forge. It is the safe and powerful space you have created, guarded by your newfound discernment. The raw material for your work is the limitless potential of the universe, laid before you. Your great task is to take this raw potential and shape it into the reality you choose to experience. To do this, you need 4 things. First, you need fire. The fire of the forge is your passion, your desire, your deep, heartfelt why. Without a hot enough fire, the metal of reality remains rigid and unworkable. A lukewarm intention, a half-hearted desire, will create no change. You must ask yourself, what do I truly, passionately want to create? What vision sets my soul alight? This fire is not a fleeting whim. It is the sustained, burning core of your soul's purpose. And you must tend to this fire. You must feed it with your attention, with images and feelings that resonate with your vision. The bellows that stoke this fire are your focus and your breath. Second, you need the anvil. The anvil is the grounding, unshakable reality of the present moment. It is the uncarved stone upon which you lay your work. You cannot forge your reality by living in the fantasy of the future or the memory of the past. The work of creation happens only now, on the solid anvil of the present. Third, you need the hammer. The hammer is your conscious, deliberate action. Passion without action is a fire with no metal to shape. It is a beautiful but useless blaze. Your will is expressed not just in what you intend, but in what you do. Every small, aligned action is a strike of the hammer. It is the phone call you make. It is the paragraph you write. It is the healthy meal you prepare. It is the 5 minutes you spend in meditation. Each strike, no matter how small, sends a vibration through the material of your life, shaping it, changing its molecular structure, moving it closer to the form held in your mind's eye. And fourth, you need focus. This is perhaps the most critical element. Your mind, in its ordinary state, is like the diffuse light of the sun on a cool day. Its energy is scattered over a wide area. It provides a gentle warmth, but it has little power to create significant change. True, focused will is the act of taking all of that scattered sunlight, all of your wandering thoughts, your divided attention, your fragmented energy, and pulling it through a single, powerful lens. That lens is your chosen intention. When you do this, the diffuse light becomes a concentrated, laser-like beam. It becomes so potent that it can burn a new pattern into the fabric of reality. It can transform the unworkable metal of circumstance into the fine, tempered steel of your chosen destiny. This power of will is not a gift given only to a select few. It is a muscle, and like any muscle, it is strengthened through consistent training. You do not begin by trying to lift a weight that is impossibly heavy. This will only lead to injury and discouragement. You do not start by declaring, "I will now change my entire life overnight." You begin with small, deliberate acts of integrity. You begin by making and keeping a single, simple promise to yourself. Choose one small thing, so small that your mind cannot make an excuse to fail. Tomorrow morning, the first thing I will do is drink 1 glass of water. Today, I will walk for 10 minutes. Tonight, I will read 1 page of a book before I sleep. Then, keep that promise as if it were the most sacred vow you have ever made. When you do this, something profound happens. You are not just drinking water or taking a walk. You are forging the first link in a great chain of self-trust. The next day, you add another link, and then another. Each time you keep your word to yourself, the muscle of your will becomes stronger. Your subconscious mind learns that when you issue a decree, it is real. It learns that you are a reliable ruler. The stronger this inner chain of integrity, the more power you will have to manifest larger and larger intentions. Turn your daily life into a training ground for your will. When you wash the dishes, do not do it absent-mindedly. Do it with the full force of your will. Choose to create order and cleanliness. When you listen to a friend, do not do so with a divided mind. Choose to be fully present, a willed act of connection. You are training yourself to be a master of your own energy and attention, to direct it consciously rather than letting it be pulled about by random impulses. As you practice this, you move from being the effect of your world to being the cause. You stop being a piece of driftwood tossed about by the currents and become the smith, standing firmly at the forge, hammer in hand. You understand that circumstance is not your master, it is your raw material. You are no longer waiting for life to happen to you. You are happening to life. But a powerful will, like a sharp sword or a heavy hammer, can be dangerous if it is not guided by wisdom. A will driven by ego, by greed, or by fear can forge a life that is materially successful but spiritually barren. It can build a magnificent prison. The power of the forge is immense, but it is neutral. It requires a blueprint. It needs a master plan to ensure that what you are creating is not just impressive, but is also true to the deepest needs of your soul. The raw, fiery power of your will must be guided. It needs a compass. And that compass is not found in the calculating mind, but in the quiet, knowing chamber of your own heart. You stand now as the master of the forge, the conscious smith of your own reality. You have felt the immense power of a focused will, the ability to gather your energy into a single creative point. You hold the hammer of action, ready to shape your world. But a hammer, no matter how powerful, is useless without a blueprint. A forge, no matter how hot, can create a meaningless object if the smith has no vision. Raw power without wisdom is a dangerous force. Your will, in all its magnificent strength, now needs a true guide. It needs a compass. And that compass is not located in your mind. It is housed in the sacred knowing chamber of your heart. Your mind is a brilliant and necessary tool. It is a master mapmaker. It can analyze the past, measure risk, compare options, and chart a logical course based on the available data. It excels in the known world. But the most important journeys of your life will inevitably lead you into uncharted territory, into a thick fog where maps are useless. This is the territory of great life decisions, of love, of purpose, of soul-level change. In this fog, the mind spins in circles, endlessly weighing pros and cons, demanding more data where none can be found. This is the state of analysis paralysis. It is the map maker, lost and terrified without his landmarks. In this fog, you must learn to put down the map and pick up the compass. The heart does not operate on logic, it operates on resonance. It does not give you a detailed step-by-step plan. It does something far more valuable. It gives you a direction. It gives you your personal true north. This true north is not a universal moral code, but the unique, individual direction of your own soul's unfolding, your highest path of growth and authenticity. Your heart is the only instrument in the universe that is calibrated to find it. But how do you read this compass? It does not speak in words. It speaks in the ancient, undeniable language of feeling, of physical sensation. The needle of this compass has only two ways to point: expansion and contraction. This is the fundamental binary of your soul's guidance system. Expansion is the feeling of your true north. When you consider a choice, a path, or a person that is aligned with your deepest self, your body will signal a yes. This feeling of expansion is unmistakable once you learn to recognize it. It is a lightness in your chest, a sense of opening up, a subtle feeling of excitement or joy. It feels like leaning forward. It feels like warmth. It feels resonant, clear, and right, even if your mind cannot explain why. It is the feeling of energy flowing freely. This is the compass needle swinging confidently toward north. Contraction is the feeling of moving away from your true north. When you consider a choice that is out of alignment with your soul, your body will signal a no. This feeling is one of tightness, of shrinking, of pulling back. It may manifest as a knot in your stomach, a constriction in your throat, a sense of dread, heaviness, or unease. It feels like you are trying to force something, like you are walking into a cold wind. It feels wrong, even if your mind presents a dozen logical reasons why it is the sensible thing to do. This is the compass needle resisting, trying to warn you that you are heading south. This guidance system is operating within you at all times. You have simply been trained to ignore its subtle signals in favor of the loud shouting of your rational mind. The practice now is to retrain your attention. Begin with small things. Become a connoisseur of your own inner sensations. Before you make a choice, pause. Think of option A. Close your eyes and feel your body. Is there a sense of expansion or contraction? Now, think of option B. What is the feeling now? Do not judge the feeling or try to analyze it away. Simply notice it. Thinking about this makes me feel light. Thinking about that makes me feel heavy. This is the raw data from your compass. The great test of your spiritual journey will come when your heart's compass points in a direction that your mind's map deems illogical, impractical, or unsafe. The heart may point toward leaving a secure but soul-crushing job. It may point toward ending a relationship that is comfortable but stagnant. It may point toward a creative path that offers no financial guarantees. In these moments, your mind will scream in protest. It will unfurl its maps of risk and its charts of public opinion. It will shout, "That is foolish. It is not safe. What will people think?" This is the moment of true courage. It is the moment you must decide whether to trust the well-lit, well-trodden road on the map that leads to a place you no longer wish to go, or to take the next single step into the fog, guided only by the quiet, unwavering pull of your inner compass. The heart's wisdom is not reckless. It simply operates on a logic that transcends profit and loss. It knows the terrain of your soul. It knows that the greatest risk of all is to live a life that is a lie, to betray your own true north for the sake of perceived security. Every time you honor the feeling of expansion over the logic of fear, you strengthen your trust in this inner guidance. You learn that the compass can be relied upon, even when you cannot see the path ahead. This does not mean you must discard your mind. A wise navigator uses all of their tools. The goal is to create a partnership between the heart and the mind, with the heart as the captain and the mind as the first mate. The heart sets the destination. It says, "We are sailing north, toward a life of more authenticity and joy." The mind, once it accepts this direction, becomes an invaluable ally. It says, "Excellent. In that case, I will consult the weather patterns, I will chart the most efficient course around the known obstacles, and I will make sure we have enough supplies for the journey." The heart provides the why. The mind executes the how. When your feelings and your thoughts are aligned and working in harmony, you become an unstoppable force of graceful creation. As you learn to live this way, guided by the steady pull of your inner compass, you begin to notice something magical. You are no longer just wandering. Your steps, which once seemed disconnected, are now tracing a coherent pattern. You begin to see how the choice you made last year, which seemed so terrifying at the time, led you perfectly to the opportunity that is before you now. You see that you are not just following a direction, you are walking a path that was laid out for you in the heavens. As you look up from your compass, you begin to recognize the unique constellation by which you are navigating. You are discovering the star map of your very own soul. You are now walking through the world in a new way. You have learned to trust the quiet, unwavering pull of your heart's compass over the loud, anxious shouting of the analytical mind. With each step taken in alignment with that inner true north, you have felt a growing sense of rightness, of flow. And as you continue on this path, you begin to notice that you are not just wandering aimlessly through the fog. You are tracing a pattern. You are connecting dots of light that were previously invisible. You are beginning to decipher the most sacred and personal document in the universe, the star map of your own soul. There is a deep and persistent ache in the human heart for a sense of purpose. We search for it in job titles, in relationships, in grand achievements, in the approval of others. We ask the world, what should I be? What am I here for? This external search is almost always fruitless because it is based on a false premise. Purpose is not a role you find outside of yourself. It is not a destination you arrive at. Purpose is a truth you uncover within yourself. It is the act of remembering the sacred mission your soul chose for this lifetime. You arrived here with a map. It is encoded in the very fabric of your being. Your only task is to learn how to read it. Imagine your soul, before this incarnation, as a divine navigator consulting a great celestial chart. From an infinite number of possible lives, it chose a very specific course. It selected a unique constellation of talents, passions, challenges, and lessons that it needed to experience for its own evolution and for its unique contribution to the world. This is your star map. It is the divine curriculum you designed for yourself. You did not come here empty-handed. You came here fully equipped with a guide to your own fulfillment. The reason so many of us feel lost, frustrated, or like a failure is that we are trying to navigate the unique terrain of our own life using someone else's map. We look at another person's journey, which seems so direct and effortless, and we try to follow their path, only to find ourselves stuck in thorns and mire. Their map was perfect for their terrain. It is useless for yours. Your path may involve a quiet walk through a valley, while theirs required climbing a great mountain. Your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. To compare your path is to dishonor the sacred, custom-made map given to you at your birth. So, how do you read this map? How do you decipher its celestial language? The clues are not hidden in an ancient, secret vault. They are hidden in plain sight, in the most obvious and often dismissed aspects of your own personality. The first and brightest stars on your map are the stars of joyful effortlessness. What are the activities that feel like play to you but look like work to others? What are the subjects you could learn about for hours, losing all track of time? What skill do you possess that seems to come so naturally you can't even understand why others find it difficult? These are not accidents. These are your innate gifts, the powerful guiding stars in your personal constellation. The world may have told you they were frivolous hobbies or impractical passions. This is a lie. These talents are the very tools your soul packed for its journey. To honor them is to begin to walk your true path. Next, look for the shimmering nebulae of your genuine curiosity. What questions have followed you throughout your life? What topics do you find yourself drawn to again and again for no apparent practical reason? Perhaps it is ancient history, the life cycle of mushrooms, the mysteries of quantum physics, or the art of storytelling. These curiosities are the luminous breadcrumbs left by your soul to guide you. Follow them without needing to justify them. The threads of your deepest, most authentic curiosities, when woven together, will reveal the tapestry of your life's work. Now, we must look for the most important star in your entire celestial map. Often, it is a star that you believe is a black hole. It is the star of your deepest wound. Your greatest pain, your most profound challenge, is not a random cosmic cruelty. It is very often the location of your North Star. The wound itself is not the purpose, but the healing of Itand, the wisdom, compassion, and strength gained in that healing process, becomes your greatest gift to the world. The person who has navigated the dark labyrinth of depression is uniquely qualified to be a guide for others still lost within it. The soul who has known the sting of betrayal can teach the true meaning of forgiveness and self-worth. Do not run from your deepest wound. Turn and face it with courage and compassion. In its center, you will find a light that is meant to guide not only you, but countless others. It is the darkness that gives your light its context and its power. And look, too, for the fiery comets of your righteous anger. What injustice in the world makes your blood boil? What problem makes you say, "Someone should do something about this"? That passionate, angry response is often a signal from your soul that you are that someone. Your anger, when purified of ego and blame, is a powerful fuel for positive change. It is a signpost pointing directly toward what you are here to protect, to heal, or to create. Your purpose is not to be found in one of these stars alone. It is found in the unique pattern they create together. Perhaps your map contains the star of a love for animals, the star of a gift for quiet patience, and the star of your own wound of anxiety. Your purpose is not just to work with animals. It is to find the unique synthesis of those 3 points of light. Perhaps you are meant to create a quiet, healing sanctuary for anxious rescue animals. A place only you, with your unique sensitivities, could design. Stop trying to fit your multifaceted soul into a single, predefined job title. You are not meant to fit into a box. You are meant to be a constellation. To discover this map is not to arrive at a final destination. It is to begin the real journey of living it, day by day. It is the courageous act of making choices small and large that honor the unique pattern of your own soul. It is choosing to spend an hour on your frivolous passion instead of on a productive but soul-crushing task. It is choosing to follow a thread of curiosity, to speak out against an injustice, to share the wisdom of your healing. As you live this way, you become more than just the navigator of your life. You become the map itself. Your life, lived with authenticity and courage, becomes a new and unique constellation in the great night sky of humanity. The light you shine becomes a beacon for other lost travelers, showing them that it is possible to navigate by their own inner light. You are not just following a path, you become the path. And the great, beautiful challenge that remains is how to walk this sacred starlit path amidst the ordinary, everyday landscape of your human life. How do you carry the cosmos within you while you carry the groceries into your house? This is the art of bringing the sacred grove into the mundane world. You have now gazed upon the star map of your own soul. You have recognized the unique constellation of your gifts, your passions, and your purpose. You feel the truth of this cosmic blueprint resonating within you. And then, the moment of revelation passes. The meditation ends. You open your eyes, and you are no longer gazing at the stars, but at a pile of laundry, a list of emails, a sink full of dishes. A profound and frustrating gap can appear, the gap between your divine cosmic self and your ordinary human self. You ask, how can I be this infinite, star-born being when I have to sit in traffic and pay the bills? You treat your spiritual life and your real life as two separate countries, believing you can only inhabit one at a time. This perceived separation is the final frontier of illusion. The ultimate wisdom of the Druidic path is not to escape the mundane world, but to infuse it with the sacred. It is the understanding that you do not need to retreat to a remote forest to find your sacred grove. The grove is not a place you visit. It is a state of perception you must learn to carry within you, always. A true sage can find the silence of the ancient stones in the roar of a city. A true mystic can see the entire web of word in a simple cup of tea. The challenge is not to change your circumstances, but to change the eyes with which you see them. The sacred is not out there. It is in the seeing. Let us begin the great alchemical work of turning the lead of your daily routine into the gold of sacred practice. Let us transform your chores into rituals. Consider the simple act of washing the dishes. You can perform this task with a mind that is a million miles away, complaining about the drudgery, lost in resentful thoughts. Or you can choose to turn it into a moving meditation. As you turn on the tap, acknowledge the miracle of clean, flowing water, the energy of the sea. As you feel the warm water on your hands, let it be a conscious act of purification. As you scrub a plate clean, hold the intention that you are also cleansing a single negative thought pattern from your mind. As you place the clean, shining dish in the rack, feel a sense of creating order and clarity in one small corner of your universe. The chore has not changed, but you have transformed it from a moment of drudgery into a potent ritual of cleansing and clarification. Consider your morning cup of coffee or tea. Do not just consume it as fuel. Take a moment before the first sip. Hold the warm cup in your hands and contemplate its journey. This single cup contains the entire cosmos. It contains the sun that shone upon the plant, the ancient earth that nourished its roots, the rain that gave it life. It contains the hands of the farmer who picked it, the journey it took across the globe, the fire that boiled the water. By consciously acknowledging this web of connection, your simple morning beverage becomes a profound communion. Each sip is an act of gratitude for the entire planet, for the entire web of word that has conspired to bring you this small moment of warmth and pleasure. Consider the act of walking, even if it is on a concrete sidewalk in a busy city. You may not feel soft earth beneath your feet, but you can still connect with the land. With each step, feel the solid planet beneath you, holding you, supporting you completely. Feel the strength in your legs, the miracle of your own body moving through space. Observe the people you pass, not as obstacles, but as fellow expressions of life, each carrying their own invisible world of joys and sorrows. Your walk to the corner store becomes a pilgrimage. Your journey becomes a practice in embodiment and kinship. Consider your work, the tasks that fill your day. You can approach them with a sigh of resignation, or you can see them as your training ground. Is your work repetitive? Then it is a perfect opportunity to practice presence, to bring your full attention to one single task at a time, training your will like a muscle. Does your work involve communication? Then it is your chance to practice the magic of incantation, to choose your words with care, to speak with integrity, to infuse your emails with clarity and respect. Does your work involve solving problems? See each one not as a source of stress, but as an uncarved stone, an invitation to call upon your creativity and find a new way forward. Your workplace becomes your forge. This practice is about a fundamental shift in your quality of attention. Anything done with mindless, resentful, or divided attention is a chore. Anything, no matter how simple, done with your full, present, and loving attention becomes a sacrament. Sweeping the floor is a ritual of creating a clear space. Making your bed is an act of bringing order and peace to your rest. Listening to a loved one is a sacred offering of your presence. As you begin to practice this in small ways, something remarkable begins to happen. The state of presence, the feeling of your inner grove, ceases to be a fleeting state you can only access during meditation. It becomes your new baseline. The silence, the peace, the sense of connection, it becomes the quiet, steady background music to your entire day. You carry the grove within you. You could be in the most chaotic of environments, but the core of you remains centered and still. You are the eye of the storm. Your inner peace no longer depends on your outer circumstances being peaceful. This is the great unification. The wall between your spiritual self and your everyday self dissolves. They are revealed to be one and the same. Your life is no longer divided into sacred moments and profane moments. Every moment becomes an opportunity for practice, for communion, for worship. Your very life becomes a moving ceremony. You are no longer trying to find time for your spiritual practice. Your spiritual practice is your life. When you can carry the grove within you, when you can see the face of the divine in the mundane, when your life itself becomes your prayer, you have arrived at the threshold of the final understanding. You realize that the entire journey from the whispering grove of the mind to the star map of the soul was not about becoming someone new. It was not about going somewhere else. It was a journey of return, a spiral path leading you back to the truth of what you have always been from the very beginning. You are now ready to understand the meaning of the great return. You now stand in a world transformed, not because the world itself has changed, but because you have. You have learned to carry the sacred grove within you, to find the sublime in the simple, to turn every moment of your life into a conscious, moving ceremony. The gap between your human self and your divine self has closed. You have become an integrated being, a bridge between heaven and earth. And from this high plateau of perception, you are ready for the final, sweeping realization. You are ready to understand the great loop of existence, the truth that the end of the path is always the beginning. You are ready for the great return. Throughout this journey, you may have felt that you were moving forward, from a place of ignorance to a place of wisdom, from darkness to light. But the path of the soul is not a straight line. It is a spiral. And now, the spiral has brought you back to where you began, but you are seeing it for the first time with new eyes. The journey was never about becoming someone you were not. It was always about stripping away the illusions to remember the profound truth of who you have always been. And who are you? Feel for a moment the presence of your ancestors. Feel them standing behind you in a line so long it disappears into the mists of time. Not just your grandmother and her grandmother, but back, further back to the first humans who looked up at the stars in wonder, back to the first creatures that swam in the primordial sea, back to the ancient stones that formed the bones of this planet, back to the stardust forged in the heart of a dying sun. All of their resilience, all of their struggles, all of their triumphs, all of their wisdom is encoded within your very DNA. Their entire epic journey through time has culminated in this single precious moment. You are the living vessel of an immeasurable past. You are the current dream of your ancestors made manifest. The wisdom you have awoken within yourself during this journey, the sovereignty of your soul, the wisdom of the serpent, the law of the harvest, you did not invent it. You remembered it. It is an ancient memory, a song that has been dormant in your blood, and you have finally allowed yourself to hear its melody. You are the fulfillment of all that came before. You are the ancestor, alive in the present moment. Now, turn your awareness around. Look forward into the mists of time yet to come. Just as you are the culmination of the past, you are the origin point of the future. You are the ancestor of generations you will never meet. Every choice you make in this life is a seed planted in the garden of the future. This is a responsibility of breathtaking scale and beauty. When you choose to heal a trauma within yourself, to break a cycle of anger or fear that has run in your family for generations. You are not just doing it for you. You are healing the past that flows through you, and you are liberating the future from its burden. You become a point of sacred transmutation in your lineage. When you choose to live a life of integrity, of compassion, of courage, you are weaving these qualities into the web of word. You are creating a more harmonious reality for those who will follow. The peace you cultivate in your own heart today becomes a small part of the atmosphere that the children of tomorrow will breathe. Your life, in its entirety, is a legacy. You are the seed from which a future forest will grow. Here lies the ultimate mystery, the final dissolving of all opposition. Consider the life of a great tree. It stands for 1,000 years, a majestic pillar connecting earth and sky. It is a home, a shelter, a testament to life. And then one day, its time is done. It falls. It does not perceive this as failure or an end. It begins the sacred process of return. Its vast trunk, once a symbol of its individual strength, slowly decays, breaks down, and merges with the earth. It becomes the dark, rich, fertile soil. And this soil, created from the substance of its own past life, provides the perfect nourishment for its own acorns, the seeds of its future. The tree is simultaneously the ancestor, decaying, life-giving soiland, the seed, the concentrated promise of a new beginning. Life and death are not enemies. They are partners in a single, eternal dance of transformation. You are this dance. You are not just the living person, caught between a past you cannot change and a future you cannot know. You are the entire cycle. You are the soil of all ancestral memory. You are the strong trunk of your present conscious existence. And you are the seed of all future potential. The life that animates you is the same life that animated the first spark of existence, and it is the same life that will animate whatever is to come. There is no separation, there is no end. There is only the endless, graceful, and sacred turning of the wheel. And so, the journey comes full circle. We began by seeking to enter the sacred grove of the mind, and we have discovered that we are the grove. You are the land, grounded in the ancient wisdom of your past. You are the sea, the flowing, emotional current of life in the present moment. And you are the sky, the boundless, creative potential of the future. We learned to listen to the silence, and have discovered that we are the silent awareness in which all sound arises. We sought the fire of Owen, and have realized that we are the channel through which it burns. We faced the shadow only to find our own hidden gold. We confronted the illusion of the separate self, only to find our kinship with all of creation. This is not an end. There is no diploma to be awarded, no finish line to cross. This is simply the arrival at the true beginning. You have completed one full turn of the great spiral of consciousness, and in doing so, you have found yourself on a higher plane. The challenges of life will still come, the seasons will still turn, but you will now meet them from a place of deep knowing, of unshakable peace, and of quiet, inner authority. You have not just learned the wisdom of the grove, you have become it. You have not just walked the path, you have become the path. You have returned, you are home. We began this journey together by stepping onto a hidden path, into a forest older than memory. We sought its silence, its wisdom, its shadows, and its light. You have walked that path with courage and with an open heart. You have listened to the silence between the heartbeats. You have faced the shadow of the great oak. You have felt the flowing fire of Owen and have learned to read the star map of your own soul. You have come far. And now, here at the end of the path, we find ourselves back where we began, at the edge of the grove. But everything is different, because you are different. The journey out of the forest is also the journey deeper within. For you have learned the final secret. The grove is not a place you visit, it is what you are. The stillness of the ancient stones is your own deep peace. The resilience of the oak is your own sovereign will. The life that flows through the river and breathes in the leaves is the very same life that flows through you. You do not need to seek the sacred any longer. You need only recognize that you are it. Carry this knowing with you as you return. When the world feels loud and chaotic, remember the silence that is your source. When you feel small and powerless, remember the kingdom that you rule within. When you feel separate and alone, remember the great web of life of which you are a vital, luminous thread. And for the moments when you forget, take this with you. Let it be a mantra, a touchstone, a simple key to unlock the grove that now lives within your heart. Breathe it in and breathe it out. The forest breathes in me. The stone dreams in me. The stars shine in me. Breathe again. The journey is complete. The wisdom has been remembered. What was once a doctrine to be learned is now a truth to be lived. There is nothing more to say. There is only everything to be. Open your eyes. The ceremony is over. The living begins.